Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Systemagic Stream. I'm Andrew with special guest host Tristan. How's it going, Tristan?
What's up? Excited to be here. Playing some beans.
Yeah, so with the situation chat, as you may recall, is Greg is at MTG Summit. Uh, so as a result, we have replaced him with Tristan. Yeah, we'll see. You can compare Tristan and Greg later. You can assign them some ratings. Um, but for now, Tristan is our host. Uh, yeah, Greg's out winning Moxes. So Tristan, here's the deal. On this stream, you have to understand we have assigned roles. One of us has to be strategy, one of us has to be nonsense. Do you think you're going to be more suited to strategy or nonsense
Oh,
on this particular stream?
I hope I'm not the strategy one.
I hope I'm
I
not the
mean,
strategy
I
one.
if you made me,
So
I
you're
mean,
saying is you'd like to be in charge of nonsense.
that sounds more enjoyable. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of effort. The other one.
By the way, okay,
I
sorry,
already
someone
have the
asked for the
haters
candle.
in
One second.
chat.
This is one of our stream bits, Tristan. We have a candle every stream. So, chat, hopefully you can see the candle I'm holding up. This is actually the Void candle, our sponsored candle, because it was sitting next to me when I started the stream. So, I picked it for very logical reasons, but they did literally give us a free candle in order to for this. So, there it is. Go buy their candles. Anyways,
Is it a scented candle or
yeah, it
just
is. um,
what's the scent? Can you describe
let's
it to us?
This one's pretty mild. It's like vaguely flowery. Oh, and someone just changed the candle sponsor. So yeah, there's a bunch of nonsense redemptions that we have. I don't know how much you've actually watched our stream, but one of them involves changing the candle sponsor, and
I'll watch
because
it every now and then.
yeah, because I'm bad with the candles. Greg normally deals with them. Chat likes to make me change them when he's not here. In general, as you may be familiar with the general
I
behavior of
see.
Twitch chat. Uh, but yeah,
I was once a Twitch chatter myself.
yeah.
I can relate.
Oh wait, chat. Oh, this is ironic. Here, we should use the G candle in honor of Greg not being here. That's great. Let's get the G candle going. Okay. So now I'm using this G candle. From the G collection. So, anyways, let's try to move to a slightly more relevant topic. Uh, so this is the 70 card Beans Cascade deck that Tristan played to the top 8 of the Modern Showcase. So Tristan, do you want to briefly introduce the deck?
Yeah. Um. So okay, I guess I had this deck. I think this started because Nammer Squats posted a list like 2 months ago, right? Like before Vegas, because he was gonna play.
Wait, sorry, did you just suddenly cut out? Uh, wait, Tristan, you just cut out. 1 second, I'm not sure what happened. Um, uh, hold on.
Hello, you should be able to hear me now.
Now you're back. Now you're back.
Yeah, sorry, my headphones died as I was talking, and then I took them out, but it didn't update my audio source.
Okay, great. But now we're all set.
I'm sure Twitch chat's gonna tell us that we're not actually, but
Well, wait. I think there might be an echo of me.
that could be true. Let me.
So I think I'm coming through your end.
That is likely true. Hold on.
Okay, one moment. Okay. Yeah, sorry about this, chat. We're working on it. It'll
Okay,
be
wait.
fixed soon.
Is it better now? You can't hear me though. Now only Twitch
wait,
chat can
yes.
hear me.
I think it's still echoing.
Oh damn! Wait.
Wait, what if happens if I mute myself in this? Can you not hear me now?
Well, now I can't hear you.
Okay, that doesn't help then.
Wait, let me just hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I realize I can't hear you. Okay, everything should be fine now. Sorry.
Mm. Okay,
Are we all good?
I think we're all good. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Just for the shot, it actually does not work to have Tristan watch the stream because there's a delay. I've done this before. Um,
Well,
basically the
the other
Twitch.
problem is if I watch the stream, it doesn't actually solve the problem, which is that if I didn't have my headphones in, then the audio coming out is just gonna still get picked up by my shitty microphone. So
Okay. Anyways, sorry. Back on track now. So you were saying something about Nammer squats, friend of the stream, Nammer squats.
oh yeah, so Nam sent me a deck, or Nam was just like posted a deck before Las Vegas that was like it was a 4 color deck. It didn't have red and six, which was when I was doing my podcast circuit a couple months ago. I was I think I called red and six unplayable,
Right.
um,
Although
which
Chad
I
doesn't
still stand
understand.
by. So I was yeah.
Chad doesn't understand that in the words of friend of the stream, Julian Wellman, things that Tristan says are only true in a metaphorical sense. So you have to understand that going in, which
That while that is true sometimes, I will say I for the modern PT there was a point when I tried to ban people from putting red and six in their deck because I thought that it was just actually unplayable. Um,
I
but
so you think this is actually true, not just like metaphorically Tristan true.
I don't think it's. I mean, there are contexts where it's playable. I thought in the 4 color decks, I kind of thought, yeah, it was like Ren just has all of these really actually. I think obviously the card is quite good, sort of in a vacuum, but it really like destroys your mana base, and it's really bad with the One Ring. Um, both because the One Ring just means that the cards that you draw off of it don't matter, and also the Planeswalkers just don't play well with the ring because the fog that you get from it doesn't matter. They can just attack your Planeswalkers, which was like a big thing that we kept finding. That it was like against the 4 color deck, you would just never attack the Planeswalkers, and then anytime they played the ring, you would attack the Planeswalkers that turn.
That makes sense.
Um, and then it just like really messes with your mana. Like you have to play like too many fetch lands than you'd want to, but then you like often like need all of your fetchables. It just ends up being awkward. Um, and like Bowmasters pushed even more 1 mana one or like 1 toughness creatures out of the format. Um,
Yeah, I think Ren is to some extent a victim of Bowmaster's success. Like, before Bowmaster was printed, I thought it was much more realistic to, in various matchups, like, get creatures with Ren. For example, like, there used to be this trade off where, like, Hammer decks would sometimes play Ornithopters and sometimes play Memnites, and they basically, like, play Memnites when they thought that people would play a lot of Ragavans, and they play Ornithopters when they thought people would play a lot of Wrens. Uh, but I think Bowmaster kind of eliminated that whole trade off. Like, after Bowmaster was printed, everyone always played Memnites and Hammer. Or sorry, no one ever played Memnites and Hammer. Everyone always played Ornithopters, and like the whole concept that Ren was getting this free value kind of went out the window. So I'm mostly with you, to be honest.
yeah, I think it was like this. I think Bowmaster and I think the One Ring too were like um, they just together really like the One Ring goes over Ren so well, which also like just makes it. It's just like because of what I talked about before. It's just like the Ren stuff is a little small ball compared to the One Ring.
Right? It's like it doesn't really
Um,
matter if you get 3 extra lands in your hand. If you're just going to start drawing so many cards, you'll hit all your land drops anyway.
right, and the games often are just the extra lands are actually kind of hard to convert into cards. It's like often that the games kind of come down to like whether or not you have like the One Ring means that you like draw a million cards, and so it was like the games were not like over these few extra lands that you got as much.
Yeah.
Also, there are decks like Rhinos and Living End that just don't care about Ren, and I think lastly is that with the One Ring, the mana, the life that you lose from fetching also matters a lot more.
Okay, right. So you basically you started from the premise of I want 4 colors may be decent, but Ren is terrible, and
Yeah.
that
Anyway, so
somehow
Nam
evolved to
had a
this
list
deck.
that was like had like well, it had like two prismatic. It was like a 60 card 4 color list, and it had like you know the One Ring, and it looked kind of like this, and it had like 3 prismatic endings, and those were like the only cards that were. And maybe oh wait, I think it had like Time Warp, Beans, Bring Delight. And
Okay.
I think my reply to him was like, what happens if you just cut the prismatic endings for Ardent Plea? Because it was the only card I think that disqualified.
Okay.
But then that got shelved for like 2 months because I wasn't playing Modern. And then the showcase came around, and then I was like had this idea, and I kind of figured it had to be more than 60 cards because you like need to play these time warps and stuff, and it makes your mana a lot better, and you like honestly probably like 8 Cascaders and 4 Beanstalks is probably too many in the 60 card deck. So there's like already kind of it's I mean normally decks don't have this ability. It's kind of like when Oops All Spells was good in Pioneer, and they had like 4 Neoform, 4 Eldritch Evolution, and then 8 Undercity Informers, and it was like
Yes.
people are just playing random numbers of cards because normally you have to play a few, but instead like your deck already has to play these unplayable cards, and you get to play like 16 copies of your payoff, so you're like not constrained in the normal sense.
No, I think that's
Um,
fair. I generally, I don't know. I think the complication is mostly to what extent do you want to draw cards that costs like 2 mana or less, which is to say that like right you're limited on cheap cards in the sense that like the only things you can actually do before turn 3 are up the beanstalk like naturally drawn and leyline binding, right? So or and I guess there's sorry
yeah,
this is one dismember in it, but so like the more that it's true that you really want to make a play on turn 2, the more you're punished for like playing over 60, and the less you care about that the less you're punished, right? Like that's to some extent the
yeah.
trade-off.
I guess the one thing I do kind of agree with that. Although I think what I found is that you're just like really want to fetch triomes early anyways. Like they end up like the light having the extra life matters a lot, and like you're often just not that upset to like I think Leyline Binding is the single card that if I could play, I don't think there's any other card in the deck that I would be like desperate to play more copies of except for Leyline Binding.
Yeah, that's
I think it's
reasonable.
just like the times when you draw Leyline Binding, it's extremely good, and if you could draw more of them. Like it's the card you want in your opening hand by far the most.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Um,
And sorry, do you have a take on the kind of trade-offs of? So okay, the way I see it, there are two different Beans Cascade decks at this point in time. I understand that there weren't really
yeah,
maybe at the time that you played the showcase exactly, but at this point in time, there's basically what I would describe as red Beans Cascade, where you have Furies, and blue Bean Cascade, where you have main deck Force of Negations, right? And those
yeah,
are
that sounds about right.
that I see as the key trade off, right? Like everything else is kind of gravy. Like, sure, you can have some time warps, you can have some murderous cuts, or like whatever. But the real question is, am I going to play enough red cards to support Fury or enough blue cards to support main deck Force? And a lot of your decisions are downstream of that, right? Like whether you have Ardent Plea or Violent Outburst is downstream of that. Whether you can play Time Warp is downstream of that. Like all of this other stuff relates to that fundamental question, right? So do you have a pitch for
Yeah,
the Force Negation
I
version as
do.
opposed to the Fury version?
Yeah, I do. I guess. Well, I have a couple thoughts. First, I guess I'll start on the on the blue cards. Is that I guess I mean my like instinct. Right. I guess I should preface this by saying I this deck was not extremely scientific. I played maybe 10 matches total before the showcase,
It
or
was
maybe not even
flawlessly
10. I
tuned by
played just like
Tristan. Hours of work, infinite games.
um.
The most perfect list ever made,
I,
is what I'm hearing.
that being said, obviously, and I seen it. A lot of people have like copied it and changed it, but also still always have exactly 70 cards, which might be right or not. I was just, I don't know, somewhere in the like 65 to 72 range. All
Uh oh, Tristan, you're inaudible again. Oh no. Uh, we cannot hear you once again. Hold on. Oh no, chat. This is quite the stream.
wait, is this one that I?
Wait. Now you're back. What did you do?
I don't know. I didn't do anything.
Uh. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened, but now
Hello.
you're back.
Okay, maybe internet cut out or something.
Gotcha. Cool.
Okay, well, anyways, I don't know where I was at, but basically, um, oh, I don't think it's a huge secret that I like building. my instinct is generally tend to like build decks as combo decks.
Yes, agreed.
Um, and so the time warp thing to me is just nice. I mean, it's possible. I remember like in the Mystic Sanctuary days, there was always this like debate about whether to play the time warps or not the time warps. And people would tell me that the time warp version was training wheels and like you could just win the same way without it. But I um in hindsight, I really liked the time warp list there. I at the time I kind of I didn't really know by the time it got banned, like I hadn't played enough, but I think in hindsight I like the time warps there. They're just like it's proactive, like they're good in all your bad matchups essentially. Like it just like these decks, I don't know. I remember like complaining about the four color deck in modern that it would like lose to Pioneer Lotus Field. Like it's just your deck is like so slow and also has no way to win the game. So the time warps like really hedge against that. Like at least maybe you're not going to beat like these random decks like Burn and Tron, but you're like it gives you a it's something like proactive that you can play towards as opposed to just like being a sitting duck.
That is
Um,
somewhat true. I do agree that Time Warp is good in those matchups, and it kind of gives you game to steal them when you sort of don't deserve it. Although the weird part is, by playing blue, you lock yourself out of some of the best sideboard cards for those matchups. In some sense,
you
that
could still play them. I had a Crumble in my sideboard at one point,
okay,
and then I just decided that an extra time warp would just be better.
okay.
I don't know if
I
that's true,
really
but
like Charma, is what I can tell you. Um,
yeah, that's totally valid. I haven't um, Charma specifically does seem quite good.
I mean, it's just nice because it obviously works. It plays super nicely with Beans. It plays super nicely with Teferi, and then just also, I don't know, you play it on turn two and they lose a lot. Uh,
I guess yeah. Um, it is really rough on your mana. I
well,
think the other
yeah.
thing is that your deck is just naturally wanting to be blue because you get to play Ardent Plea.
Well, I mean, Ardent Plea is not like I don't know. I don't really see how that's distinct from Violent Outburst in some sense, right? Like they're kind of the same
Ardent Plea
card.
pitches to Solitude.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's fair.
It's
Uh,
also it also has Exalted, which actually kind of matters a lot. Weirdly, it also it bounce like you can bounce it. It's like there are a lot of small things, but obviously the fact that it's white and blue is the big upside.
Yeah, I do somewhat agree that like this list has less issues where like you have two pitch elementals in hand and nothing to pitch to either of them, and you're like, wow, my deck is non-functional. Um,
So yeah, so that's the other thing. That's the question I've gotten the most actually. That people I've gotten a lot of DMs or people asking me on Twitter about stuff, and I would say Fury is the number one question that people ask me about. And I did try Fury. People asked me. I think I had thought about playing Fury, and then once Spike started playing his list, then that kind of like pushed people kept asking me about Fury. So I kind of looked at it again and tried, and I found that Fury just I think also Solitude kind of underperforms too. Like I know people are talking about like banning Fury and Solitude. I kind of think it wouldn't make a huge difference for this deck. Like Solitude is good. I mean, obviously I would absolutely play four, but I think you really can't play both. Like it's not even that hitting the red card count is necessarily so hard, but Fury doesn't pitch to anything else. Like which I think is almost a bigger issue. Like I just don't want to put a random red card in my deck that's like hard to cast. And oftentimes I think like when I was playing against Scam specifically, where I think Fury I thought would be at its best, it was kind of like I would find myself just wanting I just wanted to draw like one for one removal. I didn't want to like be forced to it's like if you have a beans in play, then sometimes it's even bad for you because of Bowmaster. Like I just wanted like cheap dismembers and murderous cuts and stuff and like leyline bindings. Those were like the
mm,
cards I just wanted to draw against Scam and not my Fury. And like they Thoughtseize you and they leave your Fury in hand, or they take your other red card, and so it was just like it just ended up being clunky. At least with Solitude, you like have a lot of white cards, and like the Ardent Pleas are blanked pretty quickly. So or like the late game, they're like you don't always want to cast them, so they're like it's more free to pitch stuff to Solitude. Um, I
yeah,
mean, I think
that's
Solitude is
true.
quite good as just a 5 mana play also, but it's like there's kind of a limit to how many of that type of cards you want, I think. And like
Well,
two for one yourself just isn't actually that good.
okay, I sort of think fundamentally both decks are trying to get behind on board, put some beanstalks into play, and then this deck plans to catch up by casting Time Warp and having like a big turn that way, and the other deck plans to catch up by just like having a turn where you like pitch like 4 elementals or something. You just like have 2 beans out and you're like
Yeah,
pitch
yeah.
Solitude, kill your thing, pitch Fury, kill your thing, pitch Solitude, kill your thing, pitch Fury, kill your thing. All right, you're dead.
The,
Right? Like
the problem is your opponents just don't always like they might interact with you in ways that just aren't creatures.
well, that is true.
Also,
Okay, I think at this point we've discussed the list sufficiently. We should start.
but yeah, that was my feeling.
We should
Yeah, yeah,
start
we can totally play.
start taking it to the streets, as
What
it were.
I guess what else do I have? The other one I got some questions about were the set adrifts. Those were just like a hedge for Blood Moon. I was looking at all the cards that could kill Blood Moon and um were compatible with the Bean Study Recruga cards, and there are not a lot of options. I wanted it to be castable off of like plains or islands, and the options are like Wear Tear, Wispmare. They're pretty bad.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, I do think being better against Blood Moon is honestly a big advantage of this list, not just because of that, but also because of force negation in general. Like,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
like the other list, I felt like when my opponents played Blood Moon on game 1, I basically just had to like play through it. I couldn't really like handle it anyway, and to some extent, Fury makes you better.
Blood Moon's
doing
really
that.
unbeatable.
Um,
Yeah,
but
the only way you can beat it is just with the like random leyline binding, get enough lands, and hope that it works out.
well, sometimes you can just like play through it with the other list more than this list, but also
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Being able to cast Fury and stuff is good.
right, like
Matters a lot.
it's weird. Like I think the other list is better at playing through it, but this list is better at not letting it happen. And I'm not sure how that like all balances out ultimately. Also, to answer
Yeah,
the question in the chat, yes, I think playing people who play Bloodbraid Alpha are like high. Like, I think playing Bloodbraid Alpha is insane. I think playing Outburst is reasonable. But yeah,
I will say that I never tried playing with Bloodbraid Elf, so I won't. It doesn't sound like great to me, but I won't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have, you know.
Tristan, if you're in charge of
I don't
nonsense,
have
you're allowed to
super
make
strong
snarky
thoughts.
comments. You don't have to be that diplomatic.
That's
if you
true.
want. You can.
I mean,
tell
it
the
does
chat
seem
that-
it does seem not great.
So I assume I should
I just
sneak
don't
this
have
off.
that strong a thought about the card blood. I actually really hate the card Bloodbraid Elf when it was in Standard. I remember that was like when I first started playing Standard, mostly, and I thought that the card was so stupid. It was like the first time I think in Standard that they like the best best card and best source of card advantage in the format was just also an aggressive creature. Like there was
Yeah.
just no way. It's like, yeah.
That is not great for sure.
Like why is the best concentrate in the format just is on attached to a 3/2 haste.
Tristan, do you like playing Spara's headquarters here, or do you like fetching a black land? I guess probably play Spara's, that on turn 2
Wait,
you can fetch a black land.
you need to change the one that you're screen sharing. I just see the league window.
Oh. Uh-oh. Sorry.
No problem. I was confused for a moment.
Classic. Okay, can you see it now?
Oh god, what does Captured Sunlight do?
It's a 4-mana Cascade card with the text gain 4 life.
Oh, that card's sick. I remember that card. I would just play the Sparse headquarters, I think, but I don't know. My philosophy with this deck also is that I was always worried about timing out, so I just make the simplest. I just try to not mess up. I just make the simple plays. That's why I had like 2 endurance too. I don't know. People were telling me it was training wheels, but I kind of wanted the training wheels.
I mean, I do suspect 2 endurances training wheels. I honestly, I think in the Fury list,
The endurances are actually good too, but kind of. Sorry, what were you saying?
Well, so again, most of my experience with the Fury list, which is somewhat different, but my experience with that list is I'm not sure you need any endurances. Like I think that like endurance might be training wheels in any amount, but
that might be true. The other thing in this list is that the shuffling back your time warps does actually like matter. I mean, that also might be training wheels too, but it does make it just a lot easier to. There are decks where I don't want training wheels. Like if I'm playing like Lotus Field or something, I don't think you have the room to, everything like you want to be precise and like not have extra cards because it's really costly. But in a deck like this, you're just like, I don't know, you don't really have the time to like think through all of your plays, and you don't really want to. You just want to you just have to make good enough plays every turn and not horribly missequence.
Tristan, let me ask you a question. When you in real life ride a bicycle, do you in fact use training wheels?
Uh, I don't. The last time I rode a bike, I did not have any training wheels. No,
Okay, I wanted to
but
clarify that.
I think I enjoyed them when I was learning to ride a bike.
I'm just saying maybe you need to go back to the training wheels. Training wheels in all
I
formats.
can't ride a unicycle. If you count the second wheel as training wheels, I can ride a unicycle. Um,
Hmm. My hand doesn't have. Oh wait. Oh crap. I just fucked up.
I wouldn't have played Outlands.
Uh, that is not what I wanted to do.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I somehow thought this
That's
was a
fine.
different land than it was. Um. Hmm. Okay, it's fine. I've strategically left us without anything of, and a no release like Xander's Lounge for strong and reasonable reasons that I'm sure Tristan will now justify. As
Yeah, I mean this is optimal.
well, see, would you say that we gain massive psychological advantage by playing Prey Stream there? Because now our opponent thinks that we're bad, so now they'll play worse.
Or now they think we don't have any lands, so they're gonna pass.
Nice, nice. We really mind gamed them there.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Um,
And I
what was
assume my
I?
intent
What
here is to
some?
cycle the Xander's Lounge, assuming they do nothing.
Yeah, I would cycle Alexander's Lounge. I mean, I don't think we need to play it.
Yeah, like we don't
Uh,
have that much gas.
Zax does bring up in chat that every time in my cube decks, people always ask me what the Ulamog is for, and it is in fact there so that I can't deck. I'm pretty sure in cube I lose like 20 to 30% of my matches to running out of cards in my library.
Okay, Chat needs to understand the important context here, which is that Tristan is Tristan. It's very important to be aware of. That's to say, I'm not sure this applies if you're like a normal human being, but
To be clear, a lot of the times that I would like, I'm sure if you played absolutely perfectly, probably I wouldn't have milled out in these spots, but it's so hard.
yeah. So what Chat needs to know is okay. I think there's a very accurate description of Tristan, given by friend of the stream Alan Wu, an impartial Alan Wu, which is that okay. Tristan is like if you were Matt Nass, but you were like worse at playing combo decks, but better at building them. That's the description by
That might be
Alan Wu.
true.
Now this
I
claim is
don't think I
debatable.
would. I don't know Matt that well, but that doesn't sound wrong.
Yeah, so like when you're Tristan, you have to understand that you'll be playing a lot of crazy combo decks all the time, but then you might need some training wheels to make sure that nothing goes too wrong when you play them because they might be very hard. So
Yeah, I mean some combo decks are more. It's like I don't know how to. There are like there are combo decks that are more like patient, and you like Lotus or Storm or something where you're setting up something that's very deterministic, or like roughly deterministic, and it's more about like tight sequencing. And then I think it's kind of bad to have like the extra cards in your deck. But when you're playing these sort of like um, these sorts of decks, like more of the Pily decks, I think it's good to have the training wheels. That would be, or your deck is some weird vintage cube deck that can only win by casting like Time Twister 3 times and then Upheaval into Mind Twist, and then you have to attack with your Luris to kill them.
that is an absurd sequence, but that does sound like a deck you would draft, to be honest. Uh,
I think I trophied in the one of the in the 64 persons with that one. But it was the deck was really that was really stressful. I would have liked to have one more way to win the game.
should I bind this?
It might be better to solitude it, but I guess maybe no,
I was
maybe you
waiting.
should bind it.
I
Yeah.
was waiting for them to play to crack the Winston Teeth on the assumption that I would like make them waste the fetch. I don't care about the 4 life, but now like they just didn't crack it, which I don't really understand what that means about their hand. But
I mean, you could also let it go. I guess I don't know. It depends on like it's kind of bad for you though. I probably would just kill it.
I,
I don't
I
know if you're binding its
guess
destroy. I think they're just going to get the beanstalk back anyway. So it's
yes,
like that would already be bad for you. So
I agree that I think they'll have to be in stock. Also, Chad asked what your take on discontinuity in Lotus is as a Lotus aficionado.
I will say that I haven't played with it, so I don't want to. It it doesn't seem great to me, but I haven't played with it, so I don't want to. I'm not gonna. die on this hill, but to me, I don't really get the point. It's like I think the Lotus deck loses.
Wait, 1 second, Tristan. Do you
Like
like
the number
passing
one way the
here?
Lotus deck loses.
Do you like just doing nothing, or do
Um,
you like cycling eagles and playing the land?
I think it's probably better to cycle the Eagles and play the land.
Okay.
I know Twitch chat wants us to hardcast the shark, but
Well, obviously,
um,
Twitch chat wants lots of things that they can't have. That's their role in all this. Um. Okay, sorry. You can go back to talking about discontinuity and Lotus now. Um.
oh yeah, the discontinuity. I guess to me, it's like the way that Lotus loses the most would be to like not drawing Lotus Field. I think number one, and the fact that discontinuity. I'm very much not a fan of the cards that are only good if you have Lotus Field, unless they're really good, because I think that's like the main way that you lose. It's the same way I feel about Dig Through Time. Um, kind of. And Dig Through Time might be okay. Again, I haven't played with these cards a ton, so
Well,
I don't want
wait.
to like.
I
I might change my
Yeah. I
mind,
think
but
those cards are pretty different. Like Dig
yeah,
is.
I no, I think they're very different cards. Like I don't think they occupy the same slot at all. I just meant Dig also has the problem that you almost never can cast it until you've already drawn a Lotus Field.
I see. You're basically off all cards that don't help you when you keep no Lotus hands to find Lotus Field.
My bar for them is very high, I guess is what I would say. Obviously, like you have to play some of them, Immersion Ultimatum or whatever. But I feel like that's always the thing that I'm looking for when I look at Lotus cards is like some way. I mean, there's like that's one of them, I guess, which is like something that would be functional without Lotus Field in play.
Tristan, how would you say this game we're playing is going? We haven't found any
We're winning.
beans.
I won a surprising number of games in the showcase without any beans.
But we're playing a deck with like 20 beans, presumably because our deck is better when they're in play.
Well, yeah, you'll draw them eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, Tristan, again, you're being very like reserved in your takes. Do you want me to like fire off hotter takes so that you can be more? You want to be
Yeah,
calm
you
and
can do
reasonable
that.
so I can be.
Sorry, I have to probably warm up a little bit. Um,
No, I mean it's fine. I just
more the trying to think of some hot takes that I've given. This is what happens every time people ask me for hot takes on the spot.
Yeah. For instance, I'll
Um,
fire off hot take. I think discontinuity in Lotus may be completely unplayable, but may only be slightly unplayable. It's hard to say. It's somewhere in that range. There's a take for you. Um,
I really don't like Fire Ice. That is one I will give a hot take on. I tried playing it for a while. I didn't get it.
yeah, so I was playing some with Fire Ice. I sort of I'm not sure Fire Ice is the way to go, but I'm sort of right now enjoying Dead Gone, but I'm not.
Yeah, I had a Dead Gun in my sideboard, I think, right?
You do,
I had one.
yes. Yes. I think I might
I
currently
liked
be a
that. That
Dead
was
Gone
my
player.
conclusion. Was that I liked Dead Gun and Dismember more than Fire Ice.
Well, basically, what I
I don't
like
know.
is Bowmasters. Okay, I feel like a lot of times there's this sequence where like you have beans in play, like you go to cast something like a
Yes.
Fury or whatever, right? And then your opponent
Yes.
responds with a Bowmaster, and then being able to pick off that Bowmaster for 1 mana instant speed is so good. That was my experience.
Yes.
And I don't think
Um,
killing the token or anything like that matters more than just like costing one and consistently being able to do that sequence. So I like pretty reasonable numbers of Dead Gone at the moment.
yeah,
I had
I
Fire
think
Ice for a
Dismember.
while. I've kind of come around to Dead Gone
Oh,
being better.
yeah. I don't know if Dismember or Dead Gun is better. I think that was my main. I was pretty convinced that they were both better than Fire Ice, but Dismember is obviously I think much worse in the other deck where you have fewer black sources. But the fact that you have a bunch of
Yes.
black sources, I think, makes it, and you're taking less damage from your mana, I think, in this list.
Well, to be
So it's
fair,
like
you could play more Black Source if you wanted to. That's a
you
sort
could,
of
but
a choice you
once you have
make.
like Charmaz and Furies, you're taking uh, a real cost at some point.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, apparently I'm ardent playing now.
Sounds good.
Wait, is it time for Exalted to come up? Is this Exalted's time to shine?
The Exalted comes up all the time. The Exalted was so good.
Yeah, you heard it your first chat. What Tristan's saying is the reason to play Ardent Play
I'm
is
not.
because
I'm
Exalted.
not even. I mean, I don't know. I also Exalted's like a really broken mechanic.
I do think it does
I
not
would put
play
it
great.
among of all of the like limited keywords of all of the formats with a key like of all the I don't know how to say this properly. Of all the keywords on in cards that I have played with in limited, Exalted easily in the top 5 most broken.
Okay, if you're gonna fire that off, you have to throw out a few of the others that might be contenders.
Well, Convoke might be number 1.
Okay, that's a good
I
one.
think
Convoke is
Convoke
pretty
is just
broken.
beyond broken.
Yeah, best I can
Um,
pioneer, uncontested. Everyone agrees. Um,
yeah. Well, in limited, Convoke is just way more absurd too.
oh, okay. Wait, you're saying broken in limited, not broken in general? Is that
Yeah, that's what I
basically?
meant. Sorry. Exalted in constructed is much worse than in limited.
Yes, I agree with
But
that.
in limited, I think pretty much any set that has words like unless it's like some Modern Horizon set that has one card with Exalted, I think just forcing the cards that have the Exalted word on them is like generally probably the best limited archetype.
That's I think pretty reasonable in general.
Um, it's a kind of an innocuous mechanic, but it's really disgusting.
Tristan, we're now losing badly. Personally,
Well,
I blame society.
I mean, we could just draw a beanstalk.
Yeah. Should I? I should probably eat the Shardless agent, right?
Oh, that's way too hard. Uh, what's in our graveyard?
An Eagles, a
We
Solitude.
maybe we don't want to shovel. We probably don't want to shovel
I
this
think
back
we just
in.
eat it, but no shuffle.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Like we have another endurance, and
I
also
mean, that
like
endurance is not going to do anything, so might as well cash it in now.
yeah.
Attack them for 4.
Should I shuffle there? Should I put their graveyard on the bottom? Uh,
Uh,
maybe not.
you could.
I guess I won't do it. I have no idea if it's right or wrong. It seems unknowable. It seems like
You could also just cast Styx Time Warps here and kill them.
6 time warps. That's gonna be a little challenging given their deck that like.
The first time I played the Epiphany deck in Standard, I was completely dead on board. I had no cards in hand, and then I just drew all 4 Epiphanies. I think I had like one draw in between them, but I think it was like 3 of my top 4 cards were Alrund's Epiphany, and I just cast 4 in a row and killed my opponent from 20.
We used to be a proper country. Now we just have beans. Yeah, that is true. I'm gonna need this time warp to like be like pretty unreal, right? I'm gonna need to like time warp, have it resolve, draw beans into another time warp. It like what I need to happen here is
Have you ever
really.
cast Have you ever cast Port over the pages? Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I guess I'll fetch a basic off this, whatever. But
You probably didn't want to fetch first because you really want to draw land.
oh, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I was like defaulting to the heuristic
But
that I
I mean,
didn't want to draw land, but I actually do want to draw land here.
we have
This is a punt.
we have well, we have 80 cards in our deck, so it can't matter.
That is true. Yeah. Also, land thinning is
70
a
cards
myth.
in our deck.
Is an important fact in general. It's
Yeah.
actually it's the thing big data doesn't want you to know is that there's no such thing as land thinning. It's all a scam to sell sideboard guides. Um,
Okay, but I can say now that I would have won this match, and
yeah, Tristan would easily have won here as a result of not fetching beforehand.
it's true.
He would have drawn, in fact, this base guideline, this one right here.
Mm-hmm. Then you just pour into pour.
And then the whole deck wins. Yeah, you should know that the stream is a big fan of pour into pour whole deck wins.
True.
I've lately been porting this thing to other decks. For example, I'm a big fan of when I've been playing some Convoke lately, and I've been going with the line of Night into Night whole deck wins.
Oh yeah, you can Knight into Knight. It's true. Knight is another pour over the pages type of card for sure.
Yeah, I mean they're
How did
simply the
the-
same card. I can't really think of any difference between them.
How did the Convoke stream go?
Oh, we didn't lose any matches, so good.
Wow, that was good.
Well, I think Convoke is maybe well
Did
positioned.
you?
I think it's one of the like I think like okay, the RC is too far away in a whole set releases, so like anything could happen. But like I think that if the RC were tomorrow, it would be on my like short list of like good decks. But like I don't know exactly what I would play. Like right now, I like that deck a lot. I like Lotus a lot. I like Phoenix a lot. Like I think it's one of the good decks. Is this better than the
Would you
secret
keep?
version? I don't know, but I'm trying it out. Mm.
Would you if anyone wants to give me a Black Lotus, then I can have one a Black Lotus.
Yeah, I didn't update our title. So our title normally says Blacklist winner plus Pro Tour winner, and I just didn't change it. So like because of that, I believe I'm legally obligated to give you a Black Lotus now. Is what you should understand. So yeah, we'll be in
That's
touch
true.
about that. But you have to you
Yeah,
have
it
to
sounds
win
good.
it in a game of
I
skill. So keep that in mind.
um yeah, I will take a Black Lotus. I next time I compete. And it is also true, yeah. I did win Pro Tour. Oh, what was it? Guilds of Ravnica?
Yeah, that's the right one.
Wow, let's go. There are only 5 sets that have the word Ravnica in them.
Yeah, I mean,
Had good odds.
I have a feeling this is
Was that
not
the
the
second
resolve.
one? Was that the second one or the third one? That
Uh,
was the one with Wilderness Reclamation in it.
yes, that is correct.
No, the third one was the one. It was the one with
Oh no,
Wilderness
wait.
Reclamation.
It's the one with Venerate
Guilds
Loxodon.
was.
That I can tell you. It's the one with Mentor. Is one of the mechanics. Why did I put it
Was
bounce
that
our
the
beans
same
to
one
let it
as the
resolve?
Wilderness Reclamation mechanic?
Wait, Tristan, let's briefly just stop discussing
Wait.
nonsense. Discuss the
Oh,
game.
sorry. To pay attention to the
Just
game.
just briefly. So our opponent bounced our beans. I replayed it. Resolved. What the hell is happening? Also, I assume I
They
have to time
bounced our
warp here.
beans with Teferi.
Yes,
I would cast Time Warp. Yeah, it seems good.
but I just don't understand
I mean,
why
I
our
guess
opponent
you
would ever do
could
that.
be you could be super greedy and
I
not
think I
Time
should
Warp.
not
You're
do that. They
like,
have 3 beans out. I think I
I wouldn't do that. I think you're likely dead if you do that. But
yeah. I think I need to start like doing stuff. Yeah,
oh,
RNA is the
damn, I
set
wasn't playing.
that follows the PT that I won.
I
At that
started
PT I
playing when
scrubbed
I
it
saw the when I saw Wilderness Reclamation was spoiled, and I got back into Magic.
off. You were just like, my time is now. This card's broken. Do
This card, yeah, it looks so fun.
you think I should fetch on this turn? Maybe. I think maybe
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know. I probably would.
It's a little complicated because like oh no wait we have no Omnots in our deck right so we don't have to worry about that. Okay great then it's probably
Yeah.
sorry I was worried about Omnath is what I was worried about so
Oh, at some point I started fetching. I don't know. I'm always lazy in these spots, and I just fetch the basics anyways. I guess because then I'm there. There you go.
well we're not out of the woods yet even given this time warp like the woods are dark
How
and
could you
full of
lose?
terrors. Oh wait what? Do, oh I
Oh, did
can't
we run out
cascade.
of beans? Oops.
No wait I can't cascade there's fairy
Oh,
blight.
there's
I'm an
a.
idiot. I'm an idiot.
You know, that's fine. We got more exalted now.
That was not my best play. Man, I'm a little lost in the sauce here. Sorry. The problem is Tristan's doing a great job of being in charge of nonsense and is really distracting me with a lot of nonsense, making it difficult to play this game at all well. But that's okay.
Yeah, you offered. I'm really bad at talking while playing.
Well, luckily you come on a stream where that's more or less the only thing we're going to do. So
Oh, I mean, I can do it. I guess winning while talking is harder.
yeah, you can do it as long as we don't want you to win, is what you're telling us.
Now you can. Oh, that's kind of a nice draw. You're gonna have to fairy bounce the. Oh, I guess I don't know actually. What we should have done is last turn to fairy bounce our leyline binding.
Well, I agree, but we didn't do that.
I guess. Yeah, I know. I was just trying to think it through, but you should play the Omnath, I think.
I think we should play Omnath. Yeah, I don't know what we should do
Yeah,
following that, but like we need to like play this
I
Omnath
would
and
I
draw
would
land and make
cast
turn.
time warp. I would cast time warp after playing Omnath.
We don't have that many time warps left, to be fair.
You have one. I would, yeah, but you know, um,
Hmm.
okay.
Unlucky. They had anything. Okay,
Opponent's deck seems kind of good.
I guess I should fetch in response to this. Find some sort of tap land. I guess I can find. No wait, tap land is probably better.
Wait, what? You should. Oh, it doesn't matter. You should just get a forest
Okay.
because,
Why?
well, then if you draw your Misty Rainforest, you might not run out of fetchables for it.
I see.
That's my usual thinking. Also, the life could matter here.
No, we definitely should fetch in response, but I don't know if it's obvious that we should fetch forest. Um,
Yeah, I was just usually defaulting to fetching forest because I was always worried about. I figured if I fetched the basics first, then I couldn't run out of lands to fetch later. It would be harder to run out of fetchable lands.
Also, I
Like if
sort
you
of
draw the flooded strand or whatever.
I sort of think we're Omega dead, by the way. Um,
Yeah, I think that's likely.
but you know, that's okay. Sometimes you have to be Omega dead. Because our opponents like drawing their library, which isn't amazing for us. Like, I'm gonna have to give them a turn at this point in time.
Yeah, not recognizing Teferi, I think, is the number of times that I've asked someone in Twitch chat why they didn't cast their collected company when their opponent has a cage in play is pretty high. So,
Look, chat. Let's just put it this way. This might not be extremely tight play stream. This is going to be a more vibes based hangout stream where Tristan and I discuss endless.
to be honest, that's kind of what the deck's about. I think. I think if you're trying to play tight, you should play scam.
You heard it here first, chat. If you're looking to play tight, you should play scam.
This deck's. I think it's just the vibes of this deck. See, we're already. I think what's more concerning. All I can do. I can't measure how like well I play with the deck. It's just I just look at my clock, and if my clock is as a big enough number, then I feel like I played well. And if my clock is getting close to the red, then I feel like I didn't play well.
Okay, I'm gonna concede this game. I think because we're dead. For one thing, because I can't even do this. Right? This doesn't work.
Well, you could try a leyline binding.
Doesn't it not work through Teferi? Oh, I see. I could draw.
Well, you have to leyline binding with Teferi.
Yeah. Okay. Do I think 13 Emrakul and Sundering Titan are good in regular 4-color against Cascade Beans? Yeah, I don't know.
I think resolving Sundering Titan is extremely good against the deck. I don't know if that makes it good.
So there's a small issue, Tristan, which is that even though your list doesn't have this card, some lists have the card Inevitable Betrayal. Is a sideboard card.
Oh.
Which will absolutely demolish.
That makes it worse in the mirror. Yeah, but also then what? Are they just boarding out like beans, or are they just getting lucky?
No, they're just like when they cast Cascade, they'll get one of them.
One-fifth of the time.
They'll just either get beans or they board in like 2 Inevitable Trails, and it's just like they just see what happens. That's the point.
I mean, that does seem good.
Like, I think it's pretty reasonable. Like, I don't think you have to. I guess I'm gonna take this Murder's Cut or something, but
you'd have to have seen the Sundering Titan, though, right? Like in these like closed list events, you'd have to have like seen the Sundering Titan to bring it in.
Yes, that is true.
Probably.
Well, assuming you wouldn't want it in a baseline 4-color mirror, but it's conceivable that
I don't know if you would. I haven't thought about it.
Well, there's also the Elishnorn thing, right? Like, it's also just very good against Elishnorn. So, like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna concede. Clock time definitely might be an issue given the deck that we're playing. But also, I just like him often in time trouble when I stream and rarely otherwise. So, I don't know. So, Tristan, I assume you like Commandeer in this matchup?
I'm just worried about the clock. At all times. I think, okay, how did I board in the mirror? I didn't play any of these like true mirrors, so
I assume like
I liked the Force of Vigors.
Oh right, that makes sense, of course.
I do think. See, I had this problem that I had too many sideboard cards in every matchup. That was another reason that I didn't feel like I needed to play fewer cards. I just wanted to board in my whole deck. Sometimes I would just go down to like 12 cards in my sideboard because I couldn't figure out what to cut.
But like, what am I supposed to cut? Is the question. Maybe like BTLs.
Yeah, see, it's hard. All your cards are good. No, I think Bring to Light's pretty good in the mirror. Actually, I would.
How many Teferi? Like, a lot of people have full. Assume they have the full 4 Teferis. Do you actually still want this card?
Yeah, so I'd bring in Set Adrift, and then I was cutting just all my removal. I was cutting all my Solitudes, all my Murderous Cuts. What
about their Omnaths? You're just like not planning to kill them, or like, what's your?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay, I'm a little concerned. I think I might care, but maybe I shouldn't.
You can leave in some Murderous Cuts, maybe. I think I decided in the end that 4 Force of Vigor was too much.
Okay, you want like, well, but wait, I still need to cut more cards. What else are we cutting?
Um.
Wait, Tristan, I don't know how you feel about this. I felt that when I was playing these mirrors, that I felt that time warp was bad because post board, everyone killed all the beans forever. Like everyone force figured every beans, so time warp never procced any beans, and time warp not proccing any beans actually wasn't that good. Was my feeling. And also, people have like force of negations and commandeers, which are also good against time warp. Like I don't know.
I should say that I only ever played against like the red based lists, but I haven't played enough to feel, like I couldn't be wrong. But the time warps were quite good for me. I was boarding them all in and leaving them all in against the.
Okay, what else would you cut here?
You could cut it. You could cut one Bring Delight. It's not insane.
Well, I need to cut 3 more cards at the moment.
I mean, you could always.
You want to?
I was having it all. I don't think I would have all the murder. Honestly, I think I would just go down to 0 murderous cuts, but
okay.
It might be insane.
I don't know. I'm not sure I buy the plan of when they play Omnath, it just always lives, but we can try it. I'm down. I'm here to do some science.
I wonder how I boarded before. Now I can't remember. I feel like I maybe had like the thing is we have set adrift and stuff too, so
that is true. We can try to like lean on set adrift, more flexible answers. Why don't we cut land binding? Because land binding kills things that aren't Omnath. It kills non-creatures. It kills the fairy. I don't know.
Leyline Binding's Ancestral Recall.
It also just like kills beings.
Oh, I think okay. I actually think by the end I was also not bringing in the commandeers, but the commandeers in the like straight mirror if people have time warps are a lot better.
Yes, I think commandeer is not good against the red version, which is maybe an advantage of the red version in general, but certainly I think it is good in this.
I think commandeer. The big problem with commandeer is it is really bad against Leyline Binding. I think if that weren't the case, I think the card would be a lot better. But it's really bad to get the thing that you commandeer. Like you commandeer their beans in turn 2, and then they binding it, and now it's like
Yes, I do agree that is a problem. I have not been impressed by commandeer. Like when I was playing the red list, I had 0 commandeers.
I cut 2 commandeers. I played like a prelim afterwards, and I cut 2. Then I kind of wish that I had them because I played against Tron, but I don't think it's very good. I think it's like it's mostly that I probably shouldn't have main decked them, but it's a weird card that I do think it's good in the matchups that like in the things that would otherwise be your worst matchups. So it's probably not right to play fewer than 4.
Wait, Tristan, do you like playing Teferi here, or do you like playing Shard Station? Or
I don't know. I thought about it and I couldn't figure it out, so I think you just choose a random.
Tristan, whenever we discuss a play, you're like, I have no opinion. Do whatever you want.
That's how the deck works. As long as you can make sure that your mana that you can cast one of them.
Yes. Well, I think I should play Teferi. We did.
I think you can plus here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna minus.
I don't know. You want to bounce the beans?
I was gonna bounce nothing.
Oh, that's also fine.
I was just gonna like my reasoning is okay. Teferi plays really good because it blanks all their cascaders and their counter spells, right? So my Teferi sticks, I'm very happy, right? So
how are they gonna kill it?
They're gonna just bind it.
Oh, that's fair. But you have your own binding. You just get it back.
Yeah, but at that point,
my feeling is that.
Wait. But if that happens,
I kind of want to bounce my Shardless Agent the next turn.
That is true. Okay, well now it's dueling. See, look, we're so rewarded for this now. We get to bind their Teferi and then play Shardless Agent, and then like we've used our Teferi, so if they kill it later, I guess they just won't kill it now. Well, whatever.
Well, I mean, the other play would totally work, right? You could still just play the Shardless Agent and.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I just really think that if Teferi sticks around, we're probably winning. But maybe that's like oversimplifying things. I might in general, I mean,
that is true.
Be over-indexed on like bouncing nothing with my Teferis.
I think mostly. I mean, I think the play doesn't matter a ton, to be honest. But I think, like I'm not like even sure it's wrong, but I think it's really awkward for them to bind it that turn. Like if they just untap and cast binding, they can't really do anything else.
That is true. So
it's like it's kind of free, I think, to wait one turn on the bounce.
Yeah, I guess see, here's the thing. I'm really calibrated. Like the time I was playing the most modern by a lot was like when I was like grinding NRG series leaderboard points and like playing endless 4-color with Yorion, which at the time I thought was the best deck. And during that period of time, I like ingrained a lot of Teferi related heuristics because I had to play like every game at like light speed, because IRL you time out otherwise every time. I assume you want to Cascade here, not Time Warp, right?
Yeah, I would just Cascade.
Okay. So
now we're playing. We are basically playing an aggro deck here.
Yes. And so anyway, the point I was making there is in that mirror, I liked doing it this way. So I think therefore it's pretty ingrained. Okay, I want to now bind one of their beans. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, it seems fine. Well, yeah, I think I would do that. You could say that you'd rather wait for like Teferi or something, like because like it's the only way I think you can lose.
Yeah, but I think we can maybe.
But I guess you could get time warped. You could get time warped out here too. Yeah, I think it's very reasonable to binding.
But I'm pretty afraid of Time Warp, and I think I'm not that afraid of Teferi because okay, my plan if they play Teferi is actually to just like attack it.
Yeah, that's also very valid.
Yeah, like I think we're gonna be able to beat the Teferi. I'm not that worried at the moment. So is Endurance trying to shuffle beans? Yeah, Endurance is to not let us deck Kai. If they tap, we can bounce our binding and hit whichever tap they keep. That is true, yes. Although,
yeah, that's another.
We don't really want to lose our Teferi.
All these things are good points. Let's see, what did I miss in chat? Cutting Omnath. I think trimming Omnath is also very reasonable. I think I maybe was doing that.
Yeah.
I remember I had never played the mirror before the tournament, so I like was kind of figuring it out as I went. But I think maybe by the end I was trimming some Omnaths. I know I was cutting most of the removal. I think I just was leaving in the murderous cuts. If I remember right.
Tristan is the world's leading expert on the mirror, and he's played it millions of times. And you should assume that everything he says.
I will say I've never lost any of the Beanstalk mirrors. I think I'm like 7-0, but I had a deck advantage.
All right, Tristan, it's time for the hard-hitting questions while we kind of take meaningless game actions in this game. So here's the hard-hitting question, Tristan. Would you like to explain the concept of the Tristan Nathan dichotomy?
Oh, the Tristan Nathan dichotomy? Was this Nathan's good at Magic?
Is that how you characterize the dichotomy? Sorry, is my understanding this is a theory?
Yeah.
That was present among the
it's a theory. This may have been at one point. I think it was actually, if I remember right. Nathan is well rounded though, I think a little bit compared to.
But I'm just saying for our viewers who
I assume it was like Nathan
the dichotomy. You gotta, explain the lore.
Maybe it should be the Tristan Simon dichotomy.
The Tristan Simon dichotomy.
I think Simon. I don't know if you look at Simon's. No shade towards Simon, but if you look at his deck selection history, especially the ones where he played like he was maybe the only person playing his deck on the team, and you maybe looked at the other people that he roped into playing them, those decks did not do very well, nor were they very good decks. But I think when you give, as if you look at his results from this year, when Simon plays good decks, he just never loses.
That is, I think, true. Oh wait, I need another red mana. Okay.
That was the dichotomy, I think. If I remember right.
Okay, so you're saying it's the concept of.
Well, I think I'm really bad at building decks. I think I'm really bad at playing decks. I think I'm only good at building decks.
You think you're only good at building decks?
Kind of. I think I'm okay. I'm not like horrible at Magic, but I don't think I don't even know if I like have an edge over the random PT opponent.
Out of all players in the world, how would you rate yourself?
That's hard because I don't know what counts as a player. So my mom watched me. Maybe my mom, played some basic lands once against me or something. Is she a Magic player?
Yeah, that is a reasonable question. I'm open to various answers on that question. Also, I'm just taking game actions now. I hope that's okay.
I don't know. I think it's hard because it's more of a question about like the population. It's like Oh yeah, I would expect to just be taking random game actions. Like it's more of a question about like what the like population of people is, and I don't really know. If you like specify it to like average moto opponent or average showcase moto opponent or like average PT opponent, it's like easier to answer. But I don't really know. I think
Well, I
I
just
don't know.
mean
I'm
like
just not a very good technical player.
what about like from the top though? Like for example, right? Like let's say there exists some best player in the world, like perhaps Nathan. To use an incredibly random example. Um,
Yeah.
like okay, so my question is like if Nathan is one in the world, right? We assign everyone a number, right? Like you know, like where do you think your number is about? Like do you think it's like 200? Do you think it's like
Hold on,
500? Like where do you think
let me
it is?
I
Like
have to crunch the numbers really fast.
I'm just trying to ask the hard hitting questions here, you know?
Hold on, I have a number. I can give you one.
I'm gonna time out trying to cast Set Adrift. Yeah, I
I
mean,
would put myself at 2,666.
what? That's so low. Why is the number so low, Tristan?
Well, I didn't do that well in my last tournament.
Wait, is that like your number on Elo project? Is that is that your?
It is, yeah. Yes.
I see.
My current.
It sounds like
My
it's
current rating on the
very
project.
scientific, honestly.
I was doing well. At one point
Hmm.
I had almost made it to the front page, but now we're down in the. I'm trying to do a cleanse though. I want to get my elo back down below 1,600.
A cleanse, is that the technical terminology for this?
Yeah.
By the way, I think we win
you
this
really
game.
have to experience the bottom in order to climb back up.
That makes sense. I'm actually working on that myself, you know. Um, my elo is very bad at the moment, and I've been described by some as extremely
Let's
washed.
check your elo.
So keep that in mind.
Ellen Bogan.
See, the thing you have to understand, Tristan, is that I used to be a contender.
Well, you can't say that. You can't say that when your elo is higher than mine.
I mean, what do you? That's the best time to say it. What do you mean?
Wow, the dagger.
Clearly, you never met me. That's the only time I would say it.
What's your? See, damn.
Yeah, I used to be somebody, Clark. It's exactly that.
What's your peak elo?
That is a good question. I think it's in the 2000s. I don't think I was ever 2100, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would guess it was after winning a PT, if I had to guess.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
it's not.
that's what I believe. Yes. I am gonna time out of this game, which is a little unfortunate, but you know, you can't have everything.
It seems like. Oh no, your highest rating seems like was after a tournament was after GP Toronto in 2019.
Oh, the one I went 12-3 at.
Possibly yes. You went 9-3 according to this. You must have had buys.
Yeah, I always had I had 3 buys. I mean, I was platinum at the time, I believe. So,
Getting 3 buys seems like cheating.
well, the buys don't actually, in some ways, hurt your elo. Are you aware of that?
They're not good for your elo. That's true.
Well, I mean, we're talking. The whole discussion is about elo. Okay,
True.
I end up
Yeah,
passing the
you had
turn,
to
but my opponent
climb
can't win.
uphill.
Mm.
That's fine. That's a classic.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to avoid at this point casting Commandeer so that I don't have to resolve a bunch of bean triggers.
What key do you have yield to all triggers bound to?
I definitely don't use. I definitely don't do that.
Okay, that's gonna be step one of my guide.
You have to understand that I'm really I don't know all these fancy moto tricks. I just mostly F6 and un-F6 rapidly. Is the trick that I use.
Oh, I do that too. The problem is when you un-F6, it also deletes all your auto yield. So that's why you really need to have the auto yield button saved, because
yeah.
the W key, yeah, I have it bound to Q, but yeah, well, the W key, people yell at me for not using it, but I kind of hate the W key, honestly. I only use it when I'm playing like Popper Tron.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think the current game is fine. We're just gonna, have 2 minutes for game
Or
three.
if you
It's
have,
fine.
or if someone has Urborg in play, the W key is sort of mandatory. But it's really obnoxious with the triumphs. It's like the problem is if okay, so here's the deal. If you try to cast, say, like Bring to Light, and you mess up, and then you have to undo it all, and then you have to think about it and tap it, that's like 20 seconds that you just lost.
Yeah, that is
So it's
true.
like the risk of like trying to do it really fast, I don't think is worth, at least if you're me and you're sort of, you know, clumsy, the risk of trying to do it really fast is not worth just doing it a little bit more slowly and not messing up as often. But
Hmm. All right. Well, I have like 3 minutes for game three, so that part isn't great. But we'll just time out. It's fine.
well, you instantly sideboard it. I always, if I'm down this much time, I spend the full time thinking about what my game plan is and how I'm gonna, you know,
Yeah.
it's like
I'm feeling a bit hopeless about this one. Is the thing. Um, it's very hard to. I usually don't time out when I stream, but this deck is pretty intense on the clock, and I wasn't as cognizant of that in our first game as I perhaps should have been. Uh, but
I mean, timing out is I think a classic. I feel like it's part of the experience. So
what you're saying is
of
if you
playing
play
this
this
deck,
deck, you should sign up for it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's your worst matchup for sure.
Yeah, that
The
makes
clock.
sense. I'm also just like the other problem just is that like I'm really like a paper expert. Like I can tell I have like 100 tricks for playing quickly in paper and like not that many tricks for playing quickly online. Uh, like in
That's true. I
paper,
mean,
yeah. You can go.
paper. Well, paper is tilting. The problem in paper is that I'm even more stressed out about the clock, and I just play even. My default pace of play in anything is to play very slowly, but then in paper I get very nervous, so I play really fast. But then I play horribly.
I see. Yeah,
Um,
I'm a very like I often think that in paper, right? Like sometimes you can kind of make an agreement with your opponent, like not literally, but just like figuratively. And the agreement is, oh wow, thanks for the big grade, Demonic Tutors. If you're coming over from Demonic Tutors stream, this is System Magic. Normally, it's hosted by me and a gentleman by the name of Greg, who's very enthusiastic and not here today.
I'm Greg.
But today we have Tristan, who's kind of like worse Greg. So there you go. Now we have Tristan. Um, but yeah, we're timing out with some beans, as it were.
My if people want to not draw on paper, my best advice would be to I think as people in chat have said is to just scoop. If you just ever go to time, you can always concede the match and you won't get a draw.
Great tip, Tristan. Oh wait, sorry. I actually was saying something. Oh, here's what I was saying. I think in paper, a lot of the time, you can agree that like you can essentially agree with your opponent to both play really quickly. Like not literally say that, but just like if you start playing really quick, they'll start playing really quick. And I'm very good at speed chess relative to most of my opponents. So my like experience is like if I can make that agreement, it both like is good for my draw rate and good for my win rate. And I especially feel that like a lot of the like younger generation who've come up like more on Magic Online are used to like playing an environment where like they can tank for a long time and play really slowly, which means that like if they accept that agreement against me, I'm usually going to crush them. So that's like
I'm
kind of
really
how I
down
view
to play
things.
super fast. If my I think the more frustrating ones are like at the I don't know I played a living I got a draw my first draw the last PT.
The Living End
I was
PT,
sad.
the one when you played Living End, you're talking about?
Yes, I got a draw on a living in mirror. Um, the problem I had never played. I hadn't played a living in mirror, I guess, since Lord of the Rings came out. And I was a little worried. All right, no, that's not true. I had played Living in Mirror. I think the Living in Mirror, for what it's worth, is really cool.
I also think
I
that.
hadn't played a Living in Mirror in paper, is what I meant to say. And I hadn't played it that much since the new set came out, and I was worried that there might be certain games in game one specifically where the Ents make it that like no one like and usually before at least before Ent in game one the game would eventually end because the creatures all traded off, and like eventually someone would have a bigger board and bigger graveyard. But the Ents kind of clog up the board a lot more, and people just like aren't able to attack. Um, and so I was worried, but so far it hadn't happened yet. But I was like, I knew that I was going to be favored post board, um, just because I won as I just like played the mirror a lot, and the mirror is like a very weird matchup
Yes.
where I think you just get you get like an insane edge if you just like have played it and have a coherent plan, I think. But
Well,
also I had more like endurances and stuff too. So
I mean, how do you feel about the claim that the mirror is really about like you cultivate two boards and your goal is to be winning on both boards, right? Like that's how
I think
that's how I
that's
thought about
often how they play out. As well, in game one, I think that's often how it plays out. But then it's also just like actually way more varied than that. There's like all sorts of games. Like a lot of times, someone just aggroes the other person out, and like one person ends up being the control deck, and they're like the living. Like instead, you like fight over the living ends, where like one person is trying to keep one. Like you each have a bigger board, and like you're trying to fight to keep the one that's better for you on the board.
it. Hmm. Okay. So you're saying that you don't always even try
Um,
to win in two zones. Sometimes your goal is to like win in one zone, but then just like keep winning in that zone long enough to like kill your opponent.
yeah, it ends up being pretty dynamic. I think the in the long run though, the bigger the two boards thing is like how you do win. But the problem is that if like you're behind on car cyclers or whatever, you can't catch up. Like you can't hope to really catch up. So instead, if you're behind, you have to like play to one or the other and try to like make sure that that one stays in play because you can't like catch up on both boards. But if you just decide that you're going to give up one of them, then you can at least win one of them.
Interesting.
Um,
I honestly think these kind of matchups are underrated in MTG. Although they have described by certain
oh, I think the
unnamed.
Living End Mirrors is legitimately one of the coolest mirrors actually that I think I've ever played.
Yes, I also kind of like it. Even though it's been described by certain unnamed systematic co-hosts as arguably not magic. Um,
It's
so,
very weird, yes. Um,
but I wouldn't go so far as to name that co-host. That'd be very rude. Uh,
I won't ask. Um, was the Can we time out our opponent? No, we can't.
oh no, certainly not. I'm down millions of minutes and I have 13 seconds. Um, yeah,
The
I'm actually just gonna concede as I'm dead, but you know.
um,
That's okay. We timed out. Can I update the link? Well, see, the problem is I was struggling to update the command, and normally Greg does it. So for the moment, I'm not going to. You're playing regular
oh
four-color
yeah,
paper
that's the other
execution.
thing that
Wait,
is important to keep in mind is that the other way the mirrors often end because people just well people the mirrors often end because people just start casting their creatures.
okay, wait. I actually can provide some tips on playing fast with four-color or Cascade Beans, honestly. So I think a couple things are important. One, you need to shortcut to a degree that is aggressive and tilting. Like you need to shortcut like you should be like announce everything you're gonna do on your turn and then pass and make your opponent start doing stuff and then do it all. Just be like fetch, find a forest, or like find a stomping ground, play Teferi, bounce your guy, draw a card, go, and then start doing all of that. Because like you don't want to spend clock time while you're like physically doing it. Then I also think when you're playing these decks, you should always single sleeve. It's very important. I usually decline to cut or shuffle my opponent's deck every time it's presented to me and state that I will never do so the first time to like save clock time. I just like I'm not cutting or you ever. And let's see what else do I do. I don't know. Those are the big ones. I aggressively
You
shortcut.
heard it here first. If you play against Andrew, you can freely shuffle cheat.
Yes, that's correct. I mean,
I actually was having
only
this
if I'm playing
conversation
four color
with
though.
Abe last night that I think cutting your opponent's deck is kind of a scam, but
You think it doesn't actually help? You mean?
no, sorry, I think doing more than cutting. I think shuffling your opponent's deck, yeah, kind of a scam. I mean, if they're like mana weaving or whatever, you might have to do it, but
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some real problems with that. Like, for example, it's not just that they might be mana weaving. It's also like, what if your opponent is like, okay, so when you riffle shuffle, if you don't riffle shuffle like very much, it's often the case that like cards vaguely towards the top of your deck will stay vaguely towards your top of your deck, and cards vaguely towards the bottom will stay towards the bottom, right? Even
Yeah.
though like your library is sort of randomized, like this like vague leaving is problematic. Um,
Yeah.
so the solution to that, right, is that when you like if you see your opponent doing that, you have to like do something. Uh, so that I think is
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the point of shuffling.
Well,
I mean, in general, is to
I should
solve that
say,
sort of
okay,
spot.
I should say, first of all, before I get in any hot water, I should say I'm too cowardly to actually do any things in paper. If you watch my feature matches or whatever, I honestly am always like afraid that I'm insufficiently randomizing my deck, so I shuffle a lot. But I guess if I'm running out of time, I don't shuffle my opponent's deck. But
Well, I think when you're playing these specific decks, like four color slash beans, you running out of time
yeah,
is the
living
same as
end is
saying you're
another one.
breathing, right? Like you're just always in
Yes,
time trouble.
yes.
So therefore, I like just start taking those measures on turn one of game one. Oh, that's my other tip is like,
Oh no, I think that's correct. I was just saying I'm not actually. I was just before people go and dig up my feature matches and they show that I'm lying. I was just I'm not actually good. Even though I'm saying that this is sort of how I think abstractly you should play, I'm not actually that good about doing it in practice.
okay, I am pretty good about it. Like to the point that I had an incident where okay, I was playing an energy during the Yorian four color days, and I was playing a four color mirror, so it's like the matchup where you're under the most time trouble, and a judge is like just incidentally watching our match, right? And he's watching like the degree of shortcutting that's happening, which is like completely like unhinged, to be clear. Um,
Hmm.
and like he just like wait like some that went wrong and like he points at like I think what happened is like he points at my opponent's the fairy or something, and then because my opponent hasn't drawn yet, and I'm like no you don't understand, it's just a shortcut, it's fine, because like my opponent had like announced five different things, they had to do the other things before they could draw basically, and this was all happening as I was taking game actions, and the judge is like, yeah, never mind, you guys are shortcutting too much, I'm off it, just do your thing. I'm like, okay. But this just literally happened to me. Like
Yeah.
the judges couldn't track my board state, but both me and my opponent understood the level of shortcutting that we were on. Um,
I mean, it is definitely it. I mean, it gets pretty insane.
yeah, like I don't really like that
Um,
Magic is like this, but I do think that like you have to live within like the world that is, not with like the world that you
this is why I
desire.
really like Pioneer. One of the reasons I think paper. I think Pioneer is just well. I actually just like everyone hates on Pioneer. I think Pioneer is an immaculate format, but also Pioneer and paper is it's like by far the most playable paper format. I think just many fewer games go to time. The like decks don't have a ton of shuffling, like Lotus does, I guess. But the shuffling in Lotus is not so bad because generally when you're shuffling, it's either like Sylvan Scrying, which is very easy to do on your opponent's turn, and not like or you have to shuffle and then like cast Behold. That part is annoying where you have to cast like Pour and then Dark Petition and then like draw another card and then whatever. But you only have to do that when you're actually winning the game. So even though it's annoying, it's like whatever.
Yeah, what I would say
Um,
about this is okay. So we actually this is first of all you're in a safe space to say nice things about Pioneer. This is a pro Pioneer stream. Um,
okay.
but we talk
People,
we
some people feel bad. People really don't like Pioneer. I don't know why.
well, what I would say about this is, okay, there's a quote from Sam Pardee, who I have a ton of respect for, and that I quite like, and who I would rank very highly out of all players in the world right now. And
I used to play against him at my local Magic store when I was little.
wait, are you from? Oh, you're from
Playing
California?
Cobblade Mirrors. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
where he went to college there.
Hmm. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I love Sam. Um, but but the quote is, I think a lot of the time people are good at identifying that like something is wrong, but very bad at identifying like what that thing is. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that is true. So like I am receptive to the idea that like something's up with Pioneer, but like no one in the world there has to be like a logical like reason
well,
why like a lot of people don't
my
enjoy it
my
or whatever.
personal theory, yeah, my personal theory about this, but also I'm only speaking to people of a certain demographic because there are other people that definitely dislike Pioneer for other reasons, but I think among people that I talk to, I honestly think that the reason is people just the format is too balanced and there's not a broken deck, and people don't like that that is the case.
Well, I honestly think that that sort of thing is like part of it. Um, I think that
Yeah,
like there definitely is a demographic of people who, I mean, I don't think it's everyone. I think that there are a demographic of like competitive tournament grinders where they really want an edge,
yeah,
and when
that's
they feel like they can't get an edge and all decks are the same, they get frustrated. When they're like what should I play?
yes.
And the answer is like, oh, you can play whatever you want. All the decks are about equal. And they used to get frustrated about modern for this exact issue.
I think people had the same complaint about Modern back in the day, right? Yeah, it's like
Yes.
I mean, people had also a slightly different complaint about Modern, and that was like cards like Stony Silence were too good, which I'm more sympathetic to that one.
I am too, actually. But
But I think the other complaint was also one that people totally had about Modern. Um,
okay, do you think I should fight over this landline binding?
that being said, obviously Damping Sphere is too good. But
Sorry, the deck command is just not updated because I'm a fool. So it's just showing my deck from last week. In fact, I'll also state that if any of the people in my chat that are empowered to do so wish to fix that, it would be appreciated. But I'm not going to fix it at the moment. Natural state is too good? Yeah, very reasonable opinion.
I mean, I do think we should ban Damping Sphere, but
That's an insane opinion.
yeah, I don't actually think you should ban Damping Sphere.
The thing about damping sphere is that
But
the people it hates on, like, no deck that like
no,
damping sphere is good against can be described as like a legitimate and fair experience. Is my opinion.
oh no, I obviously if Damping Sphere were not in the format, I don't think Lotus Field could be legal.
Yeah, I agree.
I also think Hexproof is an atrocious mechanic, so
Well, they
I,
stopped making hexproof to be honest. So like,
I they still printed Lotus Field.
I mean that card was printed like 10 years ago, and they you mean they reprinted it?
Wasn't it printed Lotus Field? Wasn't it printed in 2020?
No, it was printed 10 years ago. It was literally from like a very old set, and they just like reprinted it. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yes, I'm certain. It was an M20. Wait, what was
It
it
was in
M20?
M20. Yeah.
Wait, what? I thought Lotus was a reprint.
Are you thinking of Lotus Veil? It's like the fixed version of Lotus Veil, which is
Oh, maybe I'm
Lotus Field
thinking
but
of
with
Lotus
more
Veil.
words and not hexproof.
I see. Classic me. Okay. Chat seems pretty confident that I'm wrong, and as we know, chat's never wrong. So, you know,
I just crunched the numbers on it. It definitely was 2020. Yeah, Field of the Dead was a reprint in that set though.
no, I'm definitely thinking of Lotus Veil. Is what's happening. Um, Tristan, would you declare victory at this time if you were playtesting, or? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I would have declared victory 10 turns ago, 8 turns ago, but
do you think that I should like evoke endurances here to like dig for another?
yeah, I would. Oh, the Solitudes. You mean? Yeah, I would.
Because
You have.
I guess two time warps are in the bin though. Should I reshuffle first or
Oh,
something?
you should first. Oh, you don't have a way to shuffle though.
Mm.
I guess I would try to draw a fetch land first because it doesn't matter if you
Okay, so I should just
Endurancing doesn't do
so
anything yet.
I
So
should endurance pitch ardently.
yeah, probably because you're gonna cast all your endurances here.
Okay, or yeah, okay, nice.
Also, you kind of want to shuffle back in the Solitudes.
That is true. God, this is gonna get so annoying.
I think the real question in these spots, I think you can't play on that. I think it's just too bad to get it solituded.
Okay, that makes sense. So and then I should like.
But it is always hard.
So
I
now,
think I would
now I
just
have
keep.
Links of Teeth.
I would. Yeah. Can you? Um. Let's see. How do we want to do this? I think the question is, do we want to shuffle in the Solitudes or not? I guess you shouldn't. You should just play the. You should play the. You should evoke the endurance now and then play the Heath. I think and then fetch.
Sure. I mean, okay. I agree. I think you're right. So I'm gonna evoke this. I'm gonna sack it first as always. So put this on the stack first. Yeah. Cool. So it sacks itself. These go to the bottom. Time warps are back. Now I'm gonna fetch. Find like what Sacred Foundry or something. I don't care. Prairie Stream. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it doesn't matter. Whatever.
And then I'm gonna evoke another Solitude and pitch. Actually, I'll just cast Land Binding. That's actually probably better. Because if this goes wrong, at least I've removed a beans. So I can
Yeah, you can also.
And I'm probably at the game action stage again, where I should just like do stuff.
I wouldn't.
Oh,
Yeah. Also, just taking actions is better than anything else. I was gonna say you might want to use the mana to eventually Solitude, Mirrors Cut your Solitude.
oh, okay, I didn't think about that. Admittedly,
It doesn't matter. You should be winning here.
I think so. I mean, I just want to find Time Warp and continue beating.
Yeah.
And I suppose maybe it's technically right to like exile my Solitude with Solitude, but I'm not worried about that. But I'm just pointing out that I'm aware it is an option. Is Roiling Vortex a good card against Beans as a scam player? I think it is good in small numbers. I think you want to be careful about cards like that. It's a pretty bad Magic card, but I think having like 1 is okay, maybe 2. I just wouldn't like go crazy. I don't know how Tristan feels about that. Tristan can give his own answer if it's
Seems, I don't know. I haven't played against it, but I haven't played it against it out of scam, but it doesn't seem horrible. Like, yeah, I wouldn't play 4.
Oh wait, I fucked my mana. I need this Godless Shrine untapped.
Oh, this is a common mistake. Because now oh yeah, you have 3. You can't make a.
Okay, it's fine. I can't.
Okay, well let's just find a Time Warp then.
Why? I just don't even.
Wait, no, don't cast that. Whoa.
You want to cast Solitude again? Okay.
Well, yeah, because if you cast the other one, you can't cast Time Warp.
Well, yeah, but I actually don't need to. Like, I'm just crushing them, right?
Oh, you sure you want to pass? That's lame, though.
But it might be right. Okay, I found Time Warp.
I mean, yeah, but we could lose the Commandeer.
Yeah, we definitely
That's so
could.
cowardly.
But they don't have Commandeer. They're playing the Fury version. This game 1. They have no Commandeers in the deck.
Cool.
So that's not a problem. And I'm just gonna discard like cards at random, basically. I don't have time to think about which cards they are, so yeah, there's some.
That's what I do. Yeah, I just play cards.
Well, I need to find a threat now, so I can cast it and then Time Warp them to death.
I also often at some point just bounce my beans or whatever, so I don't have to discard as many cards as hand size.
Yeah, really a classic maneuver. At some point, bounce my beans. Oh, like, wait, this Endurance might be a kill con. Should I cast Endurance? I guess I'll just cast Omnath, actually. And I'll just play 4/4 and then attack them with it.
I think.
Oh, actually, Fairing Person is better. Let's actually be the Fairy. We're in garbage time at the moment. Yeah, I'm down to bounce beans. That sounds good. As you can see, chat, this is a highly interactive deck, and we're interacting with our opponent to a large degree. Look at how interactive this
You can
is.
just attack them with your Charlotte's Agent or whatever. You have Ardent Plea means you just kill them instantly.
Yeah. Ardent Plea, common Ardent Plea W. Yeah, one of the problems is that because this is your list and I didn't make it, I don't actually know the exact like land mix in your deck. And so occasionally I'm like trying to remember like what lands you have because I don't actually know them.
I was definitely worried that I was like, I have no idea how to build a mana base, and it had just been random for a while, and then Stefan helped me a little bit the day before.
So
Or I guess I also
time
figured out the I think the most important thing was playing the 3 triomes, I think. I think I was eventually convinced that this was the right split of 3 triomes. And then from there, I think you just like want like a random black land. And then I don't know, the Prairie Stream has never failed me, but some people don't like it.
Well, I would say my biggest concern about your mana base is I'm pretty worried about just your absolute count of fetch lands. And the reason I'm worried about that,
more or less?
I want more. Yeah, I want more.
Oh.
Because basically, like, I just think that as long as you have fetch lands, like, your mana will always work, fundamentally. But if you don't have fetch lands, you can sometimes be in spots where your mana actually doesn't work as a direct result of that. Like what I mean is you just draw, like, a combination of shocks that just, like, doesn't cast your spells. Like, you know, you draw Godless Shrine and Basic Plains or whatever, and like that's really specific, but like that's like generally what I mean.
Well, Godless Shrine, I think most of the ways that you aren't able to cast your spells involve Godless Shrine or not having black for Bring to Light.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I'm getting at is just like as long as your hand has one fetch land in it, like your mana will basically always work no matter what the other lands are, and that's less true of other things. If that makes sense, but
I mean, I think you're what you're saying is true. I undeniably. I don't know if playing more fetches is worth it, but what you're saying, what you're describing is a problem.
well, so like what I have generally found. Like, here's the deal: I haven't played a lot with your specific build. Like I'm not trying to say like I'm an expert on time warp builds of Cascade Beans or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That'd be a really weird claim. What I am an expert on and what I've played a ton of is just kind of these 4-color decks generally. And my experience is that just over time, I've just gone up and up and up and up on like the number of fetch lands I think is optimal to the point that like I played more fetch lands than everyone else, kind of at all points throughout. Um, and
Yeah, I will say though,
that's kind
I
of how I
have.
feel.
I mean, I agree with you in a lot of ways. I think one is that you don't have Ren and Six,
But I don't
which
even
I
think
think
it's
was
just Ren and
in
Six.
some
Like
ways the
Omnath likes fetches and just like they let you cast your spells. Like they're just really good. Um,
they are, yeah. Um, but I also having the like raw number of fetchables also just matters.
I am out of time warps now. I guess I need to draw some
Like
more
I
cards.
kind of don't think that you can play. I think even like the Prairie Stream, I'm very hesitant to cut. But I think like I guess I'm very hesitant to cut the Prairie Stream. I mean, I think you could play another basic over it, but I think beyond that, it's like it's very hard to come up with lands that I think are acceptable to cut without making the mana base substantially worse.
Yeah, I guess my experience is something like I think that much of the time. Oh God, I don't know who owns the cards under these, which is really annoying. Uh, I think much of
Does
the
it
time
matter? Can you just attack?
I don't have another turn floating.
Oh,
I may have screwed up somewhere. I was just kind of going.
I was trusting you to click buttons.
Uh, okay, I'm gonna do some stuff. It's a little awkward. Okay, we're fine. You can't binding your permanents. Yes, but I don't know who owns the land bindings. And I think Mono has a bug where you just can't see at all. Oh no, wait. I guess this one is owned by them. But then who owns? No, wait. Who owns the cards under them though? What I guess? Wait. I guess if I control them, I must own them. Okay.
It seems like a good time for me. Seems like a good time for me to get some water.
It is. Although we're about to have to sideboard again, and we've determined we don't know how to sideboard in this matchup. We being like human society. Mm-mm. Yeah, I guess I can just deduce the binding situation. Sorry, there's some bug with binding that I know I've run into before, but now I don't know what it is. All right. Okay, see now that Tristan's gone, chat, we can sideboard however we want. So we don't have to listen. We don't have to listen to his lies. So let's secretly board in a manner Tristan would approve of in some way. I don't know what that way would be though. So that's a little annoying. Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, like I guess my response to your argument, Tristan, is generally that I just don't think you seem really worried about like running out of stuff or whatever to fetch. And my experience is like usually games you run out of stuff to fetch are games you're hideously winning. And just like it'll be okay. Don't stress about it. Like you won't be able to fetch a land, but also you'll be dunking on them.
Um, so what I would say is that well, okay, there's two things I think are important. One is that having if you don't have particular shocks or like you go down on triomes, you have to like start being very careful because the like fewer the more permutations that you're missing or like the more individual ones that you're missing, the just like more permutations there are that don't keep like that don't produce the colors that you want.
I mean, that's sort of
So it's
true.
like it's very easy to end up in spots if you because at one point I had more fetch lands. I think in the first list that I played. But it's very easy to end up in spots where you like don't have you like really needed to get a sacred foundry or whatever, and then you realize that you actually cut the sacred foundry from your deck. And then you're like, oh well, I could have played around that by like fetching this other land on turn one to make up for the fact that I wouldn't be able to fetch the sacred foundry here.
Yes.
But that's a lot of effort. And you could spend your you know brain cycles thinking about those things, but honestly, there's just not time.
I don't really agree with you. I think that just
I
like
would
if you
rather
play enough
just
of the deck,
I
it
just
gets
want my
so
training
draining.
wheels. Yeah,
Like
but I don't want to play enough with this deck. I just want my training wheels.
well, I sort of feel like this stuff is like not very hard to learn because like you just like learn it one time and then like you never do it wrong ever again. Um, I probably should have commandeered this beans actually. I didn't quite realize how color screwed I was. Um, okay, it's fine. I'm a genius.
Um, and then also the other thing is that I do think it does actually come up the number of fetchables in the deck, mostly because in the really late game, you when you're chaining time warps against a deck like Tron, where giving them another turn actually is game losing often, you like really need to be able to trigger Omnat many turns in a row.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
guess.
it is easy to run out of fetchables. I mean, obviously, again, cutting one or whatever isn't probably going to lose you that many games. Like there is some trade off here, but it's also not like adding one fetch land is like. I mean, 15 fetches is a lot.
Tristan, should I commandeer this? Or should I fawn it?
I think I would just fawn it.
Yeah, okay. Pitch set adrift.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Um, here's a question, chat. Is Emrakul 13 still a great card against four color? I think it's actually less good than it once was, but it's okay. I don't know. I don't like. I am. It concerns me that in spots your opponent can come back from it now, which used to be much harder because like Bean just draws so many cards and like you you can't stop your opponent's Beans from drawing cards. You just have to hope you can expend all the cards, and sometimes you just like can't. But um, anyways, that answers that. To answer the question about Gemstone Caverns, actually, Tristan, I think that this is a very good question. So when I was playing the red build of the deck, I ended up having two Gemstone Caverns in my sideboard because I think Gemstone Caverns is just very good. And I don't really
Wow.
understand why you don't have any Gemstone Caverns. Because I basically thought the
Well, it
card was
doesn't
good.
cast any of the spells.
What do you mean? It makes it any color?
You're very lucky.
No, no. Like you only board it in on the draw. Is the intent.
Well,
So,
yeah, but
so like,
most of the cards that you draw aren't in your opening hands.
well, yeah. I mean, so that sometimes you draw a colorless land. I don't think one colorless land is like the end of the world always. Although
You
obviously,
have Bring Delight in your deck.
I see.
You have Omnath in
So,
your deck.
so the situation is BTL is mutually exclusive with it. I mean, I have Omnith in my deck too.
I mean,
Uh,
it's
but
pretty rough with the mana cost. I don't know. I mean, I mean, I'm a Gemstone fan, or like Gemstone Caverns fan. I mean, I was like at one point trying to put in a lot of decks, but also I don't know. I'm
it
not sure. Like,
it was very impressive for me. Just like your deck just like skips turn one. Like so like just like going ahead of turn is like really good and like you recoup cards like so trivially. Okay, I assume I should commandeer
yeah,
this.
but I would just rather play like Dismember. I don't know. It's like that was kind of my feeling. Is like, I mean, it could be like it's okay in the unfair matchups or something where like you just really want a Chrome Mox, but I'm not sure how much I really do want a Chrome
No,
Mox.
wait.
I am
I was.
already.
That's not how I was
I
playing
think
five.
it.
I was playing in all matchups on the draw, like all of them, every matchup. Like I wasn't like doing some narrow thing where like against these specific decks I have this. It's like no, no, no. I was like everyone, all matchups on the draw all the time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in some matchups, it's just not going to be that good, right? Like against like Scam, you would way rather just have Dismember.
I think against Scam
No?
you would rather have Dismember, but that doesn't imply you wouldn't want to have Caverns. Like saying like I would prefer Dismember at Scam. Like
Well,
I agree that it's not the
I will
most
say my testing for
maximally
this
good
event
card
was
in
that
this game.
I only tested against Scam because I figured as long as I could make sure the Scam matchup was very good, I would not lose to anything else.
That is, I think, a very reasonable approach. And do you believe you succeeded at that?
Yeah.
So you like this
Well,
because like
not losing anything else. I did lose to Burn. Well, I lost my last three matches. I was not my quality of play deteriorated very quickly at the end because I was like needed to go somewhere and I was very stressed out about leaving on time and it was also just very late. I'm
that,
used to playing these on West Coast time zone.
that makes sense. But like basically, I thought you told me that you were concerned about your deck Scam matchup even after the tournament. But maybe we
Yeah, I mean,
miscommunicated.
like I think the matchup is good. Like that was like the I guess what I was saying is like I put a lot of effort into that matchup and so like I thought that it was good, but I'm like I could believe especially if like people can adapt and play like I don't know, someone suggested Roiling Vortex or like I mean now this deck is quite popular. I could believe that there are things that you could do from the Scam side to like protect a little bit and make the matchup a little bit better and then or just in general like if they know what's in your deck like um the scam gets a little more of an edge. I could believe that Scam just like does start to the matchup gets close or Scam starts to beat you. I
Hmm.
don't think the matchup like I thought I was pretty favored, but it's not like it was a I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of Scam draws that do win.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
guess.
Blood Moon is really scary. I think also if people play like more main deck moons.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that on the Scam side. If you're expecting a metagame where like this deck is popular, like people are at some point down to like one main deck moon, and I think maybe this deck being the like dominant form four color is a good reason to like go up on moons, like have like two main
Oh
deck or
yeah,
something.
people could also cut Fable from their deck, which would also be.
They're not going to do that. I mean,
I mean,
I don't think they can
they
really.
maybe should.
I don't think they really can.
If you're playing main deck moon, I don't see why you can't cut Pyro. Like, you can't cut Fable.
Well, because okay, do you agree that Scam is still very popular?
Yeah, but I think the whole reason to not play the main deck moons is for the mirror, and so for me,
Right.
Fable is just a concession to the mirror, right?
Right. So like, I wouldn't want to double down on that. Like, I think the mirror is still very popular.
Oh, I was saying you could do one or the other. Like either you could play main deck moons or you could cut Fables.
I see. I
I
see. I
think
see.
both would give you an edge in the matchup. I don't know which one's better.
Yeah, I guess I'm sort of with you on that. I've not found Fables to be particularly compelling against this deck, but I just think that yeah, you have to. The tricky part is that as Scam, like you have to warp your deck to be better against Beans
Well, I assume
without.
Pyro is better in most matchups. It's just the Fables are really good in the mirror. I'm
Oh,
not an
that's
expert
not
on
my
the mirror,
belief.
but
It is my belief that
gotcha.
Fable is better in most matchups, if
Wow.
perhaps close to all.
Season
Um,
Pyromancer is so broken.
I think Pyromancer is bad. Yeah. Or that's not even true.
What?
I think it's not
Bad?
power. I think it's not power creep nearly as much as Fable is. Is perhaps a more accurate description. Uh, but
Well, that was not my experience with this game deck. I was really not a Fable fan, but it is good in the mirror.
I really liked it against everyone. I don't know,
It's just
like
bad against Bowmasters is the only issue I had with Pyro.
yeah, I eventually, but like I have a lot of problems with Pyro. Like one of my problems with Pyro, for example, is like I felt that like these days with like all these like beans and four color decks, like I didn't feel like I was like grinding them out with a mediocre value of like drawing two. Like I just like I was aggroing them out or I
No, you're
wasn't winning.
not. Pyro's a hyper aggro card.
What do you
Fable
mean?
is like the grindy card.
I see them
Okay, the
both
whole
as
point
grinding
of Season
cards.
Pyromancer. Okay, no, Season Pyromancer is a very aggressive card because it lets you click yes on the mulligan screen.
Hmm.
Fable does not. If you mull the 5 with Fable in your deck, it's just horrible.
I see. You
But
like that.
Pyromancer, the whole point of it is that yeah, you're just supposed to mulligan until you go to 4 or whatever, and you have a broken hand.
You're like, yeah. You're like. I see where you're coming from.
What was the I think the people is like it's like you mulligan. It's like the deck is just Tron. It's like mid range Tron. You just mulligan until you have Tron, and then you play like your mid range game. And without Pyro, you can't do that.
Yeah, but I just think that like eventually people kind of realize that like you just didn't always like really need to do that. That just like I don't know, like
I
curving.
was saying where do you just get to? It's so strong. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
in this matchup, I think it makes a huge difference
Hmm.
because the slow hands are just too slow from scam. But if you, I don't know, Fable's just really bad when you mulligan is the problem. Like
Yeah, I agree with that statement. I just found
from
that
my
like
view, the scam deck, I think the scam deck is like if I had to like describe a comparison for it, I can I think I described it as affinity.
yeah. Oh wow, Lavinia. That's a big problem because
I haven't seen that one before. It's a nice deck.
we don't have any removal in our deck, Tristan.
I hadn't prepared against this one. Okay, well, we should just get the 6 lands.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what we're gonna do. I guess I'm gonna cast nothing. Uh, okay. Anyways, yeah, I guess. Okay, the way I see Scam is more that like, okay, so when I was testing 4-color beans against Scam, my experience was just that uh, like I was winning a lot with my hand of like any 7 cards that contains a Bowmasters. Like I almost felt that like the Scam draws were not as important as just having Bowmasters frequently. Um,
What if I told you that there was a way that you could have more likely to have Bowmasters in your opening hand?
well, sure, that's fair, I guess. Um, Wait, should
It's
I
like
just
Gemstone
fob these two
Caverns,
things?
only instead of getting a land, you can like pitch it from your hand to put it to conjure a Bowmasters.
I guess.
Yeah, you could just main deck. I think main deck Vigor is quite good here, yeah.
Yeah,
Or sorry, main phase Vigor, not main deck.
I'm not a big fan of main face Force of Vigor, personally. Personally, uh,
Main phase Force Vigor. It's good when you have Lavinia in play, or your opponent has Lavinia in play.
hmm. Yeah. So I guess I sort of see your point. You like Pyromancer because you like how it lets you like play the games, kind of.
Yeah.
Is the general stance you're coming from here? Yeah, I
I think
guess.
in the mirror it's bad though, because mulliganing is really punishing in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's good in the mirror. Um,
It's also not only is mulligan punishing, it's also the card itself. Pyromancer is just quite bad into Bowmaster.
yeah, I mean, it's awful. And I guess I think part of the problem is that, like in some sense, like these slots that you're playing are slots that you normally board in grindy matchups, right? You're like allocating your grindy 3-drop slot to a card that isn't good in the most popular grindy matchup. Like that's a really like awkward place to be. Um, but I guess partially I just still felt that Pyromancer was kind of small ball, but I don't know. Like I'm wondering if you could just like mulligan a bunch and then just like still have Pyromancer, like that is say mulligan a bunch. Oh no, Teferi. Um, sorry. I was wondering if you just like mulligan a bunch and then just like not have a pyro and still be okay. But I don't know. Maybe that's a bad way to think. Uh,
Yeah, it's just Fable's really bad when you mulligan because it's like too slow, and if you don't have extra cards in hand, it doesn't you don't get the like same advantage out of it. Like Fable to me is like a card that you're playing because you want to be hard casting your griefs and your furies, but I guess that's just not how I want to play this game deck. I just want
yeah,
to be
but
I just want to like put my frog mice into play and kill my opponent.
I'm just worried you're trying to make Scam into a combo deck because that's what you like. But I'm not sure it actually is a combo deck. Like I'm not sure that's like how
It's affinity, I think.
I'm not sure that's how like a superhuman AI would play the deck.
Maybe I just don't. I think the mid range. I don't think the mid range plan is actually that good. I guess, but it is good in the mirror. I guess I
I
also was not a fan of people playing more lands in the deck, which is something that people wanted to do for a long
oh
time.
I love the lands in the deck. Yeah, I'm a big lands in the deck enjoyer. I mean, I think it's tricky how to play them without flooding all the time and not making your grease too bad and stuff. But like in general, I like them a lot. I know that there was a build that Andre and Golducott played in the actually the tournament that you top aided.
Oh, I know. I tried to convince him not to play the tapped land.
Well, I don't really like Malakir Rebirth, but I like more lands. That's what I would say about this.
I'm more sympathetic to more lands that are not Malakir Rebirth for sure.
I mostly just dislike
I
Malakir.
kind of think Malakir Rebirth is just both a horrible land and a horrible spell.
Yes, I'm a Malakir Rebirth hater and a doubter. Mm.
Wait, oh yeah, sorry.
This works. I'm just gonna do this, and I'm gonna bind the.
Yeah, no, this is way better. It's possible that you want to wait on the binding.
Well, they have Tefn. I think I should just do it.
Well, it's no, I mean it's possible you want to wait until the next turn and like hope to Shardless Agent, like Cascade effort. But you probably should just play it.
I think I should just play it. I'm not sure though. The clock is also a pretty real concern again. I'm timing out again, is what I'm saying. But you know, uh-oh, that's bad. Yeah, the problem is I can't come into your back because it will get Lavinia countered. So, oh, and they have Fairy Pack. I can't do it for multiple reasons. I think we're dead again, Tristan. I think people have adapted for the mirror, and our list needs to be more adapted.
I mean, Lavinia seems good. None of my opponents ever cast Time Warp against me when I was playing, so.
Well, I agree that having Time Warp is generally better than not Time Warping. Yes. As I mentioned, I can't cast Commandeer for multiple reasons, such as that they control Lavinia and they control the Fairy. So I can't cast Commandeer for multiple reasons. Yeah. Yes, I do not like Malakir Rebirth very much, but I do like lands in Scam. Well, specifically, I like Agadeem's Awakening. I'm the biggest Agadeem's Awakening enjoyer of all time. But
I think that card could be fun. I don't have enough thoughts on that card.
It's a land that's black.
I mostly all I know is that I didn't like Malakir Rebirth.
Well, I've just played a bunch with Malakir Rebirth in my life, and my opinion is that it's just like it's great to have a land spell, but it's like it's an awful land. Like it's
I also
so
think that
bad.
the spell is surprisingly bad. I think losing 2 life and not getting a counter is like noticeably worse. I don't know.
I mean, I think Scam in many matchups doesn't care that much about its life total. And I think that Modern is not a format that revolves around life like that much. Obviously it matters sometimes, but like
It matters a lot in the mirror.
I don't know. I think it matters sometimes in the mirror. But yeah, I am not a Malakir Rebirth believer, but I am a.
But also just the counter. It's like you're putting if you're like in a turn one grief scam someone, like you're kind of relying on that grief doing most of the damage to win a lot of the time.
Yes, agreed.
And it being a 5-turn versus 7-turn clock is actually just like massive. Well, I think we're probably not winning this one.
Yeah, it's just a classic. Tristan's going to come on my stream. We'll talk about lots of great nonsense, give the chat lots of great content, and immediately go 0-3.
Wait, okay, I suggested great plays for one of these at least, and we I mean, it seems like the deck's good, right? It's been our only losses.
I'm just trolling you.
I know, it seems like I broke Modern if you just look at this league.
Yeah, the deck only loses to itself. It's very simple.
That's the only bad matchup. Usually that's a bad place to be. Ideally, you want a deck where your only good matchup is the mirror.
I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I was the scam stuff is interesting.
I'm not the scam aficionado though. So
yeah, like I wasn't for a long time. I like resisted scam forever, and then like I played Energy Detroit because like I don't know. I have a lot of friends in Detroit. I stayed at my mom's house. It was pretty fun, and I randomly like picked up Scam for the tournament and tested a bunch, and I was like winning a mass amount. This is obviously pre-beans, and I was very happy with it for that tournament. But that's when I played the most. But I don't know the way I
I
feel
do
about.
think Scam. I do think Scam was pretty unequivocally the best deck. Um, like at least prior to the new set coming out. Like I don't know now. Now Modern's kind of all over the place, but
Yeah, I'm honestly not so sure it isn't still the best deck. Um,
I no, it
but
I think it very plausibly might be. Um,
like,
I just my like my certainty about anything in the Modern format is just way lower than it was, a month ago or 2 months ago, whatever. There's just way more stuff going on now. But
yeah,
that's not to say it's not Scam isn't the best deck. It's just I before I had like some degree of confidence that I was pretty sure is probably the best deck to play. Um, and now it could be, but it also could not be. I don't know.
the way I feel is just that like, okay, basically, okay, with the bean stuff, right? I feel like the whole bean stuff like rests on this single claim that I'm actually not very sure about. And the single claim is like it is true that as long as I want to just pass, right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so. You can
Yeah.
just end of turn binding land cycle.
Yes. Um, and the way that I feel is if it's true that Beans beats Scam, then maybe Beans is great. But if it's true that Scam beats Beans, like if Scam adapts, basically, if Scam that is ready beats Beans, then I think Beans existing good is almost good for Scam. Is that a weird claim? Because like Beans has like replaced and pushed out things that Scam doesn't want to play against to some extent. Like it's I think it's made the metagame better for Scam.
What didn't Scam want to play against?
Scales mostly.
Oh, sure. I've never played a matchup, so um,
Okay, so if I let this resolve, I think I can just kill this Yogg, although they're gonna draw like a bunch. But I assume we can just recover from that. They won't be able to kill us, I don't think.
yeah. See, scales. The Soul Cauldron stuff was again like after the new set came out, so I'm a little like I just don't know. I have a lot of uncertainty about Modern, I guess. But now I have to play Modern.
Why do you have to play modern?
I qualified for the showcase.
Oh, gotcha. Yep, you do. Good beats. You should probably play Scam. Uh, all right. Should I let this?
Yeah, I don't know. I
So
mean,
this.
obviously, I want to play this deck again. Should you resolve it? I don't know. Someone who's played against the Yawgmoth deck a lot are bleed dead here.
Well, we're not. Okay. Okay. I guess I can answer some questions. Just I play a lot of Magic. Just
Don't they just they have Yawgmoth's bargain in player now, right? Like
so if they
you
sack
can't
a
stop
wolf
it.
in response to the first wolf undying trigger, we can kill the Yogg,
Oh, okay, that's
right?
true.
And then
That
they
does
can
sound
draw
correct.
a
Yes.
finite number of cards from there, but it is a large finite number.
Okay. No, you're right.
Um, and then okay, wait, they're just gonna not do anything.
Well, now you're gonna fetch, and they're gonna.
Well, I just won't fetch. I don't
Gotcha.
have
You'll
to
just
act.
cycle.
Yeah, like they don't. It doesn't
Well,
really
what's
work
gonna
that way,
happen
right?
is that it's gonna be their turn, and then we're gonna be in the same spot. Only they're gonna have their lands untapped.
Well, perhaps, but like I don't think we're gonna win by like laying bindings into,
No,
into
I
the
don't
Yogg.
think. I don't think. I think this is the correct play. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be pessimistic. Um,
Like yeah, like I agree that oh okay, see they did it great.
we
We bait
got
out
them.
sorted them. So now we find Hollow Fountain. Uh, uh,
I think if they don't sack there, though, I think we're just hosed.
yeah, I think that our opponent, I think an
Likely.
expert's Yogg player might not have sacked there, but like I think that most Yogg players are not. Magic players like to like do stuff. Uh,
Yeah, I don't like to do stuff, but yeah, a lot of people do.
well, I know you don't.
If it were up to me, I would never attack or block. I would probably honestly cast my spells.
well, okay. I mean, the attacker block thing those two claims are different. I mean, the attacker block thing is because okay. So discuss Tristan as a Magic player more. A popular topic. Okay, so this is actually, believe it or
What
not,
if they have a combat trick?
this is an interest of mine actually, as you may or may not know. Um, one of my interests in Magic is I think it's fascinating how many different like sub skills there are in Magic, if that makes sense. I think it's interesting like how many like different ways there are to be good at Magic, to the point where like I think if you analyze like 5 top Magic players, like a lot of the time you'd actually realize that like their strengths are actually all quite different. That doesn't like mean that like they should all play different decks or whatever. Like that'd be pretty extreme. Oftentimes like the decks are like different enough that like you should play the good ones. But what it does mean is like just I don't know, in different spots they'll like have different amounts of equity because of their personal abilities and not because of any like function of those spots, right? Are you somewhat with me on this premise?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it's also like weird because a lot of times the games are just complicated enough that like the I mean, if everyone played perfectly, this wouldn't come up. But because you're going to play these future spots in a different way, just as a heuristic, then like how you should play previously does actually kind of matter. Like,
Yes, you're talking about the like multiple choice test thing, which is like okay. So I guess I'll get to that. But what I was going with the original claim is
yeah,
so different Magic players are good in different ways, and the specific way that Tristan is good is I think pretty different than a lot of strong players. For example, like personally, right? Like I am good at Magic, like from a limited first perspective, right? Like I originally got good at Magic by being very good at like draft and sealed and like crushing my like like I started playing FNMs, then I started winning at those FNMs, then I started playing at like limited PTQs and limited GPs, right? Like I like that's like my first GP cash was a sealed Grand Prix. Like that's like who I am as a player, and my skills reflect that. So I'm very good at decks that resemble limited in general, which is mostly like mostly good at like aggro decks.
decks that evolve in attacking and blocking.
Yes, I'm pretty good at attacking and blocking, and I'm also pretty good at what I will describe as limited control decks, which are pretty different than what I would describe as constructed control decks. And what I mean
Yeah,
is,
that makes sense.
yeah, like because when you play a limited control
Limited
deck,
control decks are more mid-rangey than.
yes,
That's
yes,
right.
a limited control deck is just like you're inevitable, and you have a bunch of kill spells, and they don't really use like weird cards. Like they don't have like constructed decks, like there's all these weird things, like there's like planeswalkers and enchantments and weird card types. Limited decks, like there's kind of just like creatures and that's it. And a kill spell is just a kill spell. And it's really just like about lining up your removal and being inevitable. So that's like what I'm
I
good
really
at.
like to play constructed control decks in limited,
Uh, well, that's fair.
but that's another topic.
Where I was going with this though is that Tristan I think has a pretty different skill set for me, which is that Tristan I think is basically good at all aspects of Magic that are not attacking and blocking, including like weird combo turns and including like ramp decks, like weird, extremely inevitable control decks. Like it's pretty different than the like limited first skill set that I would describe as being mine.
There's 2 points I would make about this. One is that because I was talking to Abe and Zach about this last night, but it's like I do think it's probably part of it is that most people, I guess, kind of like who played on the PT and had some success, like got there by playing in a lot of PTQs and stuff. I think Abe brought this up, but it's like the skills that selects, like winning in PT, the best way to win in PTQs, or probably the easiest way, is to just like play very well and to play like safe decks. And because you're playing like a bunch of different PTQs probably on weekends, and like they might be different formats nowadays, or like they were not that long ago, or like they might be like you're not going to have time to like prepare for each one. It's not like a lot of it is just like kind of picking a deck that's safe and will be good enough, and then just like playing technically very well, because you don't have to invest the time to learn every deck and like worry too much about all the details. You can just if you just focus on getting better at playing, then that'll kind of carry you.
Agreed.
um but I don't think that was how I had success, and then I kind of skipped that part. But like playing trying to like win PTQs by building new decks is quite hard, because all your edge evaporates after the tournament ends.
Wait, Tristan,
And it's also a lot
let's
of
quickly
work.
discuss sideboarding. I think this conversation is interesting, and I hope chat likes it.
Oh, yeah, I've never played against this match. I never played this matchup.
Yeah,
But I
okay,
think
you're an
I
expert.
would
It's
say
fine.
Dead Gone seems good. I think Subtlety seems good.
Yeah, agreed. I assume that my counter magic is mostly bad.
Okay. I actually, well, when I was playing Living End, I ended up feeling like Force was actually quite good against them. I don't know if that at all translates here, but
Hmm.
their deck, I kind of think you might want them because there's a
Okay.
certain pattern with the deck where they really want to cast Court of Calling is kind of the most broken card in the deck in a way.
In a way, agree.
Like it lets them just like spend a lot more mana than they should be able to and like play around removal and like represent instant speed stuff. Otherwise their deck is a little more one dimensional.
Yes.
And it's very good. Yeah, they have evolution main deck like almost always. I don't know if they would have it post board regardless, but obviously Fawn is very good against evolution. But even if it's only Chord, there is this like thing where they can't play around. Like if they Chord main phase, then you get to Fawn them, and otherwise you just get to untap and hold up the mana.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. What do you propose cutting then?
so well, I don't know. Sorry. That being said, I'm not sure that you're actually supposed to have them. I was just I think you can cut endurance in this matchup probably.
Just like both of them or one of them?
I think you can cut the second one for sure.
Okay.
You might be able to cut both. I don't know. I don't. I suspect that like you don't need to shuffle your time warps back in because if you just kill all their creatures, you break up the combo. Like you're
Yes, that's my suspicion too.
that would be my feeling. Like the time warps are probably good, but you don't need to like chain. You don't need to like actually kill them. If you just chain 3 time warps and draw 6 cards, like that's probably enough to actually just
I was
end
wondering if we
the
should
game.
shave the third time warp actually, just have like two BTLs and
That
two time
also
warps.
seems. I think it seems very reasonable to do.
Okay, so like
Um,
this, then we're at 70. So I guess maybe 3 fawns and call it a day. Is that
yeah, that
fancy?
sounds fine. I could even see going down to 2.
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't
I
know
could
what I
see
would
that
want though.
too. With 70 cards though, 3 feels about right to me. Um,
Yeah, this seems good.
yes, but I do agree with what
Yeah,
you're saying,
Fonz is a
Tristan.
weird card.
That like people are not
Yeah,
innovation is not really well. Honestly, I think innovation is not really rewarded in most of Magic these days, but it's certainly not rewarded in the PTQ at the PTQ level. Uh,
yeah.
like the lesson I learned. It's like as you may be aware, like my word in Magic that I'm obsessed with is the concept of ruthlessness. The concept of just like
Oh, yeah, I
I
think it's a good. I think that's a very good concept.
yeah
I think
like
it's really important.
I just attempt to do. I try not to have any personal like feelings about it. I just like do what I think will win the most always, regardless. And
Kind of, yeah, I think it's like okay to have to. I think personal feelings are good when you need kind of tiebreakers. Like I think it's good if you're like stuff's within a certain range of closeness. That I think it's fine to default to stuff that you're comfortable with. Just come around to that, but I do agree with you.
yeah, but like kind of what I realized with the business is I do think a lot of people are not doing the things that they're doing in Magic for ruthless reasons. Like I think there's a lot of people lying to themselves. Um, and wait, should I do you like Sparras here? Is that the right fetch?
I don't know. It's weird because you're gonna get something off the Lorraine. You're probably gonna get the other one off the Lorraine reveals.
Yeah.
Maybe you want a binding the thing though. It's I think, but I don't think you want a binding. I think you just want to get. You're just gonna get. You should get Sparras and then get Xander's Lounge.
Yeah, okay, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. So you just want me to find Xander's to play it this turn.
Yeah, I think so. Because then next turn
Yeah.
you can binding Beanstalk.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Uh, right. Sorry. Brief side note from Tristan and Andrew discuss deep magic theory. Uh, a classic part of the System Magic stream experience. Maybe we need more nonsense. Chat, if we need more nonsense, let us know. We'll try to inject more. Uh,
This is great because I don't have to play.
uh, but yeah. Um, yes, but basically, I think a lot of people play decks that are creative because they want to like show off their deck building ability, or like they think it's fun, or like they want to be known as a deck builder, or like things like that. Rather than because like they actually think that like a superhuman AI would select that deck, or like I think it's unruthless. What a lot of people do. And so I just like made a rule with myself that I was gonna try really hard to never lie to myself and to play what I believe to be the highest and right thing, regardless. And just to not let myself have any kind of excuses anymore. I tried to like get good at like not deceiving myself, and that's when I started winning a lot, to be honest.
I would like to think that I have a pretty good track record. I mean, sometimes in like moto events or whatever, if there are definitely times where I like very intentionally, at PTs at least, I think I have a pretty good track record um, of I think doing that, of playing the best deck that I could. But
Yeah, I
um,
don't think I'm not to be clear. I'm not saying this to like accuse you of lack of ruthlessness. I'm just saying that like
well, no, I think it's I think I was gonna segue into that though, but I think it is like when you're building decks, it's very easy to. I mean, it's also just hard, but it's like
do you wait? How do you want to respond to this? Do you want me to let this
you
resolve in
need to
writing?
be willing to,
Because I could
probably yeah,
subtlety
because you're
it.
gonna have to kill it eventually. So
Yeah, I think I might as
oh,
well.
that could be fine. Maybe you're supposed to binding. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
I think I'm supposed to let it
Yeah,
resolve until
subtlety
it's
seems good.
okay. You want to subtlety it?
No, oh, actually, I would hold the subtlety. No, I would hold the subtlety for Yarmouth.
I
I think.
think that's what I should do. I think what I should do is let it resolve and
I
then
think the
bind again.
bowmaster just doesn't matter actually. Yeah, yeah, the bowmaster just doesn't matter. You're okay with their board too.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna kill it, but yeah,
Like you should kill it, the bowmaster. I just mean like the damage on the token is not actually threatening you.
it's not a big deal. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Back to more important Magic theory discussions.
Well, I think it's also hard. Like it's a lot of it is like balancing. Like you're gonna build a deck, and you need to know like whether it's worth it to spend more time on it, and whether the problems that have come up are gonna be solvable, or like I don't know. There's like a huge um, I think it's hard, and I definitely think a lot of people are not ruthless enough,
Yes.
or are like not willing to give up on their ideas, or like you're like if you're gonna build a deck, it like needs to solve a problem to some extent too.
Yes, and I think that a lot of
Um,
people like I cannot work with everyone on a Magic context because a lot of people do not like how like I'm very like direct and somewhat dismissive of like many deck suggestions. But like I kind of have gotten there because like I just feel like there's decks where like I don't even need to see the list. I just like based on what you've proposed your deck to do, I like do not believe it will be good. If that makes sense. Um, maybe that's a
yeah,
weird
I,
way to
I feel
think.
similarly.
So like I don't
No,
know.
I feel the same way.
There's a good example of this, right? Like from the new sets. Like the new set has this card. You've probably seen it. That's like basically if you have it and Wild Growth Walker in play, um, it's like a 2-mana 2/2, and if you have it and Wild Growth Walker in play and you gain any life,
Yes.
then it becomes a 20/20 and destroys their board, right?
I'm also not optimistic about this card.
Right. I think it is very clearly bad, and I think many people will be like, "How can it possibly be true that like you think this is bad? You've never seen a single game with this card in play. Like you've absolutely no testing. Like how can you possibly believe that?" Um, but I think the answer is like I actually reasonably can, um, because I'm gonna shock an iron plea. I think. But
That
yeah,
seems good to me.
yeah. And the reason is, well, okay, it's very simple. Like, let's say that you played a deck containing Wild Growth Walker and this 2 mana 2/2, right? My question is kind of like, well, like two popular decks in the Pioneer format are like this deck that like basically has an effective like million copies of Fiery Impulse because like all these cantrips, and Red Black Midrange has like stomps and fatal pushes, right? So fundamentally, like those decks are not gonna let you like combo them, which obviously isn't great. Um,
Yeah,
but also
the other, yeah,
like if you build your deck, like even if you have this combo and you fill the rest of your deck with individually good cards, like say you do, like you have like Shieldreds and Fatal Pushes, Thoughtseize, like whatever, just like all individually good cards, like well at that point, like against Red Black Midrange, you're basically playing a mirror where they have Fable and you don't, which is like never gonna win, right?
yeah. I
Like
think the other hard part is if you just like look at it compared to like things that could exist or whatever. I mean, and that's obviously rough because sometimes there are decks that could have. You're like, oh well, if this is broken, then people should have been playing this the whole time, and then you realize that maybe that was true, but that doesn't happen that often. Um, and I think like I don't know these like I don't know how you build it. You build like collected company or like these other sorts of things. Like it's just when you think about Yuta had a good article after he won Worlds about why you played the Dragons deck, which I actually think the premise was, or I think like his conclusion was wrong, but um, I thought that the thought process was pretty good. That he was like he looked at the deck and he felt like it was like the number of cards that he needed to win was it was just like too high in the Epiphany deck the dragons that it's like much more compact, and you don't need as many things to go right for it to work. And it's like that's kind of the problem with that sort of combo is that like you're just sort of fundamentally playing this creature deck, and it's like the creature part can't be that good, and so the combo has to be really good, but it's like it's not very resilient. Like it's hard for me to understand what it does better than any of the other existing combo decks in the format or aggro decks even.
Yes, I'm right there with you. It's just that
Like even without, and then I also totally agree with you about the metagame stuff. Like there's also the issue of it like lining up into decks too.
well, yeah, like fundamentally Pioneer's about certain things, right? And those things at the moment involve just like a lot of like cheap spot removal. So just like playing a deck that is in any way based on cheap creatures, just like not very appealing. Uh, and I don't
Yeah.
know. This is kind of generally how I think about things. Whereas on the other hand, if you proposed like some sort of non-creature combo deck that like didn't involve creatures at all, I'm much more interested because like I don't know, it's already been shown that like non-creature combo is like in a pretty good place in the format. So I don't think it would take all that much to build a good one. Now, obviously, it'd have to be better than Lotus, which is a high bar to clear, but I'm more open to it, I guess. Um, I think I'm gonna lose this game, Tristan.
It's definitely possible. How much damage are we taking here?
Well, I'm
It's possible
solituding.
we were just too greedy with the subtlety.
I don't think we
Um,
were, but maybe. Uh,
oh, we have a solitude on this deck, and we're drawing 2 cards. Okay, we're not losing this game by as much as I thought we were
yeah.
a moment ago.
Why did they find Dry Arbor? I don't understand what that was about, but they did do it. Um,
I assume they have Court of Calling.
I mean, that would probably get us pretty good here.
They like
Court... Yeah, we can't counter it.
Oh, that Zach's is definitely right. They wanted to top and also use their fetch.
Oh, I see.
Why did they get Dryad Arbor and not a different land? I don't know.
Well, I think they want a 1/1. I mean, that part actually does make sense to me.
Oh yeah, they just want to attack. Yeah, that makes sense too.
They want a 1/1. Like our opponent needed a 1/1.
Yeah.
Common Zax win. That's absurd. Rare Zax W. You can't just be in my stream spouting lies like common Zax W. Okay, so now we're just gonna time warp and get out of it. Is that's more or less our plan? Time warp until we can time warp no more.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of I don't know building new decks is hard and um it's very easy to.
Well, and partially I will say like personally that's like not really obviously where my strengths lie. Like I am useful to a team most if I'm like a like ruthlessness consultant. Like it's really where I shine. So like if you're optimally utilizing me on your team, like you don't want me building new decks. You want me like telling people what decks might be worth pursuing, and that's like really where I think provide value. It's just like not a good use of an Andrew to have me like making crazy decks. Like I'm not gonna do it well. It might be a good use of a Tristan though. I mean to be fair, but
I've at least somehow gotten myself into a position where people let me work on weird decks, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't know. So wait, we know they have Bowmasters here. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just winning.
Well, I think I'm winning too.
Really lose.
I mean, I assume I'm just gonna dismember this and pay 4.
Yeah, I might fetch first, but
I guess I can. Yeah, I guess I just fetch first for a basic and pay 2. That seems better.
yeah, and just like I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter, but yeah, I would just pay the 2. And
No, I think it actually does matter a little. Like, we don't really want to have less life. Like, our life total is a kind of relevant resource at the moment. It's not incredibly relevant, but it matters a little.
oh, the other story I was going to say related to what you said about people having different skills or just the different ways. I think my default way to play, like if you were to, I mean, it's not to say that I obviously don't stick to this 100 or anything, but it's just like if you give me a board state and you ask me like what I would do, if I my like the intuitive play to me is always to just be as patient as possible and not cast my spells or attack or block. Um, which obviously is sometimes wrong. Like sometimes it's very, sometimes it's subtly wrong or clearly wrong, and I'm definitely like, will calculate and come up with better lines if I have to.
Wait, one second,
But
Kristen. Let's answer
I
this
know
question from the
like for
chat.
the
Chat's asking why you have Eagles of the North. Do you want
this
to give a
plane
brief?
card, yeah, well it pitches to Solitude, and it also costs. It's like it also like you kind of would like to have more land cyclers, but you don't really want them all to be blue. Um, and so it's like a nice hedge there. And then also because of the beans, the like it also helps you like not flood out. Like the difference between it and Lorien Revealed is like not actually as big as it is because it draws you cards sometimes. You have to cast it. But it's like you're cycling these cards 98% of the time. And it's also good against Blood Moon.
Yes, I think a big part of the appeal of the Eagles of the North is that it finds basic planes against Blood Moon, even after the fact, which is very, very useful. Like, a fetch lane cannot do that. It can only do it in advance. But, yeah. Bird go caw. Yeah, I mean, that is part of it.
I don't know if you want, like, I don't know what the correct number of land cyclers is, but I do think that the first Eagles is better than the third Lorien Revealed, probably.
That seems pretty reasonable to me. I think that Lorien Revealed has pretty quick diminishing returns. Tristan, would you tuck a land here,
Yeah.
or would you tuck a spell?
I guess I would probably just put back the island, but I'm not.
No, I think that's
I'm
what I
not
want to
super
do
high
too.
confidence.
I just
You just fetch Xander's Lounge.
even though we're mostly just vibing, I don't want to. Occasionally, you have to weigh in on the tough choices.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um,
uh,
the oh, what I was gonna say though is that Zach Keeney, good friend,
yes, I know. I also know
maybe
Zach quite
has
well, obviously.
about as opposite of heuristics as possible. Yeah, I was just explaining for the chat. The he is probably about as opposite of heuristics as possible, I would think. He really likes to attack and he really likes to jam. And at the Epiphany PT, the Innistrad set championship, we tested together, and I think Zach and I played maybe the most Epiphany mirrors of anyone on the team. And we played the deck just like a lot against each other, against everything, and I lost my win in, I top 16th, and he top 8'd, and I think we had the highest win rate with the deck. And people would watch us play, and they'd be like, "You play no turns. Would you ever play the same way?" Like Zach would just cast his spells every time, and I would just never cast my spells ever.
It's like, yeah, what do we conclude from this? If you two are the best Epiphany players on the team or whatever, like, what do we learn? Like, that's really bizarre.
Well, I think our deck was. I think we had a very good deck. I don't know. Honestly, probably was helpful. I think like probably in some ways it was like the having the different perspectives might help you like sort out what is good and bad. Like maybe the things that you overlap on are not as context dependent as like if you had people who only like to jam, then maybe you would like one real thing is when you're playing these matchups. If you this comes up a lot like in the current standard format, like the Esper mid-range deck is very dynamic, and so if you play the matchup against like one person a lot and they play it very aggressively, then you might like start to board in a way that's actually like unintentionally fairly exploitable, and then you'll play against someone who then plays it more passively, and you realize that your plan of like bringing in all this removal actually just like doesn't work.
Yeah. That's a weird thing in general, but I do agree that it somewhat exists. Like, okay, something I did a lot when I was playing four color a ton. I would board very differently.
That example for me just came up in the qualifier.
Oh, wait, what
Part
do you
why
mean?
I used that one, but yeah, keep going.
No.
I played soldiers in the qualifier
Yeah,
showcase, and I played against Esper, and I Yeah, and I probably just wasn't. I just was not playing the Esper matchup correctly in hindsight. Like I went back and watched my replays, and like I towards the end, I the way that I thought I was like the my plan in the Esper matchup, I think just was actually too focused on people playing very aggressively. And when my opponents played more passively, which a lot of my opponents seemed to in the qualifier, it didn't work. It just kind of fell apart.
Hmm.
And I think
Interesting.
I could have played in a less exploitable way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely familiar with this. Like, I
Sorry,
mean,
what are you saying?
oh, well, I mean, obviously, I learned stuff magic from not the same set of people you learned from. So I don't know, it's interesting to compare experiences. But just like Max. Oh, thank you for the prime subscription. WJ Hummel is I think how you say that. Um, but yeah. Yeah, like I learned with Max McVitie, obviously a lot was the person that like we were like I don't know blood brothers, everyone would call it when we were coming up in Magic. For the most part, it was the two of us against the world, and uh, like Max only plays aggro and has no respect for anything. In general, it's somewhat similar sort of things to Zach. I think like we would like literally play like team tournaments, right? Like there was like a whole season that was team. I don't know if you were playing then, but I was. Um, and
Yeah.
like there was a thing where just like I'd constantly be watching Max play, and we'd be in some like just like random game state, and I would be like Max would be like, okay, like I think we should like make this attack, and I'd be like, oh well, like what if they have like this trick like when we get completely destroyed, and Max would be like, yes, and then think for like a couple minutes, and I'd be like, I would like to attack with everything, I don't care, and I'd be like, okay, live your life, and then he would do it, and like he'd win constantly, um, and I don't know, I think that he just had a lot of success with a similar set of heuristics, just like never respect any card ever, um, which I don't know isn't exactly where I'm at either. I think I'm a little bit more towards the respectful end as well. Whether that's more calibrated or less calibrated, I don't know, but
How do you think Max builds his decks more patiently than Zach does?
well, that is
I
true.
like the way that Max builds aggro decks.
I mean, Max like yeah, an important part of understanding Max is that it's not the lines that Max likes aren't it's not immediately attack with all your creatures. It's like you have to tank for like 3 minutes and then you attack with all your creatures. Um, and I
I
think
see.
the difference
That's
between
important.
that yeah, like because like Max is like he's going to consider all his options and very carefully think about probabilities and like
Sorry, when I
then he's going to attack with
when I
everything
say
in the
patiently,
end.
I don't mean actually in terms of waiting. I just mean I think I do like the way that Max builds his deck. I mean Zachini also plays very fast, but um, that was what I meant. I just meant he really likes to jam or like not
Yeah, sorry. I
not
guess patiently is a overloaded word in this conversation. So sorry. Um,
yeah.
I believe I understand what you mean.
But what I did, yeah. Well, I do think Max also builds his decks in a way that um I like the way he builds aggro decks. Like I think he builds them in a way to play longer games.
Yeah, that I think that is somewhat true
Um,
actually.
I don't know. I haven't really watched him play that much. I just have looked at his decks a lot. So I don't know.
Well, it's just that the team tournaments are very striking because, like, normally in an actual tournament setting, like maybe you prep with someone and like maybe you discuss plays then, but you never like are in a high stakes tournament actually seeing them make the plays live. And then when you're in the team setting, like you just do, and it's actually very surreal to see like I don't know just kind of how differently people play. That was at least my takeaway. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I assume we win the game now.
it seems likely.
It's really important that we win this match so that we have more matches to discuss minutia. Is the key thing. Although I guess we are running out of stream time, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Mm-mm.
Um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I think
Wait, this happened in Atlanta. You
I
on
don't
Blue
remember where I
White
was going with
Humans
that,
had
but
Karn.
I
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to process the.
oh in the blue white in the soldiers.
It sounds like my opponent was playing humans with a blue splash.
Oh,
Volcanios. I don't remember enough about the scenario to like respond intelligently to that. I think. but that does sound like something that would have happened. I don't know if that's a useful response or not. I was probably surprised just because like I didn't understand why you were doing it, but it might have also made sense from my perspective. Maybe I had information, I didn't know what you knew. Okay, great. Sorry, Tristan. It's a little tricky here. I'm trying to play a match and see what chat's saying and have our discussion, but
No, that's valid.
Yeah, on the board. This isn't exactly a winning stream. It's more of a vibes based hangouts stream. So I hope that you're prepared for that, chat.
Only losses were to the mirror though, so
Yeah, deck's broken, unbeatable. The mirror is just too problematic a matchup. Is the thing. Mm-mm. God, I don't know if you ever had this experience. There's occasionally been decks that I play where I can't win the mirror with them, even when my overall record with them is very good, and it's very tilting to me when this comes up. Because I normally
I don't have this problem. I'm pretty sure my mirror. I think if you took my mirror match win rate, like in maybe just at PTs or whatever, I think my mirror match win rate is like maybe 80%.
Well, that's insane.
I wouldn't be surprised if my non-mirror match win rate is like 50% or something.
Yeah, I don't think my mirror win rate is in general that great, although there have been particular mirrors that I'm very good at. But I don't know if it's that great, like, on average or what have you. Like, I was very good.
I think part of it I just really like, I just think yeah.
Well,
you're very good at which one?
Mostly I'm very good at mirrors. I mean, it's probably what you'd expect based on my strengths. I'm very good at mirrors that can be described as, we both have a pile of creatures, let's do some complicated combat. So...
Oh, well, okay, I did do horribly. I mean, I think I went like 2-2 in the mono white, and I played mono white, and I had to play the mono white mirrors.
Oh yeah, never lost a mono white mirror in my goddamn life. My record in the mirrors at the PTI 1 was insane.
Those were very hard for me.
Well, the problem is they're Tristan mirrors, it sounds like, is the issue.
In general, though, no, not at all.
Oh, wait.
In general, though, I think part of it I find playing mirrors to be pretty fun. And so I'm like, just like practicing them, I think, is part of it. Like, we'll probably just test those more because I think that they're fun.
That makes sense.
A little bit. But they're also just a little easier to think about, I think, just because you I don't know.
Oh, I screwed this up.
Your opponent has the same cards.
Crap, hold on.
I also think it's generally pretty easy to get a deck building edge in the mirror. It depends on the mirror, obviously, but...
Yeah, that's somewhat true. Yeah, I was not supposed to do this. I was supposed to not play Island on 1.
Or, I think, obviously, you can, butcher your deck often to make it good in the mirror, but I mean, without, you can... I think just, with some clever configuration, you can often get a big edge in the mirror without giving up too much.
Yeah, I somewhat agree. It's weird. I've sometimes had the experience, so okay, the main thing that bugs me is people like to board in cards and mirrors that, I feel like there's this thing where when you're playing two decks that are low to the ground, people always default to this heuristic where they want to board in expensive cards, and I think sometimes boarding in expensive cards in those mirrors is actively bad. But
well, one thing I guess I should also say about myself is that I really hate expensive cards.
Oh, okay, good. Then we're on the same page. I also hate expensive cards.
So just in general, I just really, in every deck ever, I just always want to cut my expensive cards and replace them with cheap cards.
Yes, that is also kind of where the direction I come at it from. So I have a thing where
sometimes the expensive cards are 2 mana cards, and I want 1 mana cards instead.
Yeah.
And I will cut my, I don't know.
Dude, I
played Soldiers last weekend, and I just cut all of the 2 drops for just more 1/1s.
Wait, how do you feel about the 0 drop in Soldiers? That's a legitimate question.
In the standard Soldiers deck?
Yeah, doesn't that deck have the 0 drop?
What's the 0 drop?
Night Arena Vios?
The Night Arena? Oh, yeah. Well, that card's broken. You should play.
It's a 0 mana 4/4.
Play 8 of those. It's the best card in the deck.
Okay, I saw a lot of lists with 3. Do you have 4 of them?
0 mana 4/4 Muldrifter. Yes, you should not play that list.
Okay, great.
No, the list that I helped people a lot for Worlds. I think only 3 of them ended up playing it, but I spent a lot of time on that. The big tech that I had was Lunarch Veteran. which again is part of the all decks are combo deck theme.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to understand how you see the world, even though it's not exactly how I see the world. Um,
The Lunar Veterans were really good though. They just completely invalidate Shieldred.
sorry, which card are you? What card are you saying? Oh, the veteran. Oh, the one that gains life. Gotcha. I'm with you. Yes.
Soul Warden, Lunar Veteran.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
that was I think my big contribution.
Yeah, Jay Wallet. The secret about cards that are for the grinding matchups is there's a reason why that's a bit and not a good reason to play cards. Uh, it's.
I am not a fan of Virtue of Loyalty. I think the card's quite bad in Soldiers.
I think it's kind of good in Esper, but I don't know how I feel about it in Soldiers.
Oh, I think it's very good in Esper. I don't think it's good in Soldiers. I think like in Esper, um, you like want to have all your cards trade off and then like have it pump up your shitty tokens that are left over, and that's just like not how Soldiers. You're just fully playing combo deck. You like don't have interaction. You just need to like stall the game long enough until you just kill them, and the Virtue just like doesn't do that efficiently. And it's not a hit off the Knight Errant, and it doesn't I don't know. It's too slow.
How are we beating Burn? Because I don't
People
say.
keep saying this, how you're beating Burn, whatever. The Burn matchup I think is just good.
I don't think Burn is particularly playable. Although what I will say is, I
I
actually
mean, I've
had.
only played against Burn like 3 times, but
Wait,
I don't see why it would be a bad matchup.
I really like the core Firewalker sideboard plan. I don't know if you've seen that, but
Oh, I did try that because I really wanted to tilt Sandy Dog, but
it was
I don't
very
know.
good for
I
me.
hadn't thought about the thing as I did it. Oh, that's good. I didn't play against Burn. I wasn't actually sure if I had to play against it. I wasn't sure how many beanstalks I would board out.
I boarded out all of them, and I just beat. I've never lost the deck post board doing that.
Did you board out any?
I boarded out every single one. I boarded only
Did you
core
board out
Fire.
any beanstalks?
No, like that's
Okay,
the thing. I boarded so I had two core
that seems
Firewalkers and
smart.
0 beans decks, and
Yeah, that seems smart.
I just like basically
Doesn't
just
seem like
you have 8 core Firewalkers, and just every game you would like make a core Firewalker, make another core Firewalker, and they can't win,
I don't
and nothing matters.
I
Really.
don't think the burn deck kills consistently on turn 4. I think that's the part I would disagree with.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Well, the other thing I
I
would
do
say
think the
is
Firewalker would. I think the matchup's close. Like I think burn is a close matchup for sure. Like I don't think it's, but I don't think the matchup. Like I think it's probably 4-color favored, but it might be a little unfavored. I don't know.
wait, Tristan, what's the last
The
card
thing
you
is,
played
like, it's
Pattern?
very hard for burn to kill you. Commandeer is solid, I think.
Oh wait, you
Fun.
want to commandeer their burn spells?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Just a really shitty force negation.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you're on the draw, you're gonna die with cards in hand. So
Yeah, okay. I was also going to comment that I think Tristan's list is a little more like it's like a little better set up against burn because like the force negations are in the main deck. The stock for the stock for color deck can't it basically cannot ever stop a spell on the stack. So like even if all the creatures do 0, eventually they'll like draw burn spells equal their life total. And if that happens before you resolve the omnat trigger, like you're guaranteed to be dead in some sense. Whereas
yeah,
I
I
think
also just have more spot removal and fewer pitch elementals. Like the pitch elementals are actually not that great.
well, I think pigeon ones are
Like
sort of the same as spot
it's
removal.
awkward. Like you want to draw one. No, because I think you really want to have like
Would you keep
they're
this
they're
hand?
better. The first one is better, but in multiples, I think I would not.
It's like this is the
I think
sort of
it's
hand I
just too
mean when
bad.
I say if this hand had a fetch land, it'd be great, but it just doesn't. Um, so you,
If the forest were a fetch land, it would be good. If the prairie stream were, it would not be.
I don't know, Xander's Lounge, or I guess I guess
I
it
do
doesn't
think
work.
basic forest sucks, but
Minomanic, I don't think you should.
well,
I think you
Omnat
should
speed
not
instantly wins
generalize.
the
They're
game.
different decks. So you want to mold this, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh God, this hand is not good either.
I mean this hand is not good. I'm closer to keeping this one than the last one though, but I probably would go to 5, but I don't think it's insane to keep this. I'm not positive.
I think we should go to 5, but I'm not sure either. I want to go to 5. Yeah, meaning
Yeah, I
like
think that's
basically, I just don't think you should consider these to all be the same deck. I don't think that's like a good framing of the world. Um, like I think Four Color and Cascade Beans with Fury and like Tristan's deck are three different like sub archetypes and they have similarities, but like I don't think
I
it's
think
obvious that they all have the same burn match or whatever. Wait, maybe Lounge is good.
it's crazy just bottom the Eagles instead of. You might want to bottom the Eagles,
No, I think you're right.
or
But
maybe you want to bottom. Maybe you want to bottom a fetch, and you just don't lose the extra life.
no, I think maybe Endurance Eagles is right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Keep Eagles over a fetch.
Well, if you just
Ah, no, wait, you're
yeah,
right. That
I
makes
mean
sense.
it's bad if you draw binding, but
Yeah. No, I'm here for it.
you just you gain 1 life. How do they beat you?
Love to gain 1 life. The other thing I would say about Burn that's important to understand is that Burn is a terrible deck. I don't know if that's a thing I'm allowed to fire off, but just like it's really not good.
I do think it's always important to keep that in mind when you play against it.
Well,
I think
like
that's a big. I think if you lose sight of that, it's easy to lose.
yeah, so like a lot of times you're like, well, like based on like I often use the term structurally favored versus actually favored, right? Like a good example of this is like okay, back when Ad Nauseam was a modern deck. I don't know if this predates you, um, but back when Ad Nauseam was a deck, right? Like Ad Nauseam was structurally favored against the modern Phoenix deck, right? Like it was a spell-based combo deck. Phoenix had like almost no waste interact spells in the stack in the main, so you'd be like, okay, like based on like looking at these two decks, like it like seems like Phoenix shouldn't win very much, right? Um, and this is what I mean when I say something structurally favored. But then if you actually like played the matchup, well, like it turns out that like Ad Nauseam is such a non-functional like bad deck, and Phoenix is like such a good, smooth, like consistent deck that does its thing. That just like it's actually quite a close matchup because even though on paper Ad Nauseam is favored, one of the decks is just it works better. Um, that's kind of what I mean with this concept. Are you here for what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I agree about burn. I mean, I think just the burn deck is you win a lot of matches that you don't feel like you beat burn a lot of the time when you don't feel like you should be able to.
Yes. Mm,
The other problem with burn is that you do just like Omnet does actually just win the game.
yes, I do agree with that. Omnath a good one. So I guess I'm gonna bounce one of their things, even though that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I would bounce the Swift Spear probably because they have a Rift Bolt, right? Or no, they already cast it. Never
They
mind.
already cast it, but I think maybe that's still
Rift
right.
Bolt kind of an embarrassing card.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't board it out. I think when Max used to play this deck, he would board out all his Rift Bolts against Teferi decks. Uh, Also, if they cast a random Brid spell here, would you counter it? Just like they like Lightning Bolt our face or something? Like, I assume so, but I'm not totally sure.
I think. Oh,
I mean, I think I
I
want
guess
to.
you just play the Prairie Stream and binding something.
Oh, do you? We could just play Omnath. It blocks. Actually, that's
You
probably
could
true.
also play Omnath. Might be better.
Hmm. I think I like your line. Well, the point of playing Omnath
They have 5 cards in hand.
yeah.
How do they have 5 cards? Never mind. You can't play Omnath.
Okay, let's play Fairy Stream Pass. I've decided I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
in
they
this
must
game.
have Path to Exile. So I think you need to like next turn play Omnath. You need to like place Heath Omnath.
Yeah, I need to play Heath. It's a Heath first angle. Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
think Heath first sounds pretty good. Okay, I've got a fun burn fact for those out there who enjoy. At the Modern Pro Tour, Burn had a losing matchup against Other. Are you aware of this stat? It's very funny to me. Other.
I assume other did not do so well in tournament.
Other is the worst deck in the fields.
I assume other. Yeah, I would counter that one. I think.
Yeah. Pitch Loin revealed, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one good Omnath deserves another.
Damn, matchup's unwinnable.
I mean, I think we are in fact going to win.
Yeah, we won a Rumble to 5. I mean, our opponent didn't do anything, but
Well, to be clear, we have not actually factually won yet. But, we are winning.
I don't know.
Oh, can I move the stack? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll move the stack next time it pops up. My bad. Tristan, remind me to move the stack if I forget. That's your new job.
Sure.
Oh, wait. Boom. It's done. Okay, and I guess I'll just pass now.
Oh. I see.
I mean, I don't need to act, right?
No, I would just wait. I think you should do it in like after blocks probably if they.
Yes. Notably, if they do go to Killer Omnath here, I could pitch Omnath to Solitude to tear.
Right. Well, you should just fetch.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly quite bad for us, but I can fetch a basic and Solitude the Goblin. Oh, no, I have to fetch an untapped one if I do that.
Tear is that bad for us? I mean, I don't know. They're just getting a 1/2.
Oh wait, I thought it had Vortex under it. Ah, great. Okay, but I was gonna say, do you want to? Oh no, wait. Oh, sorry. This is our first land, right? Never mind. We're not making mana. Okay,
Oh.
I apologize. I thought we were making mana briefly for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, let's find Proving Ground. I played the land before playing Omnath. Yes. Because we believe our opponent has Path in their hand. That's actually a little inexact. More precise would be our opponent's playing in a really weird way where they're like not doing anything with 5 cards in hand in their burn deck. So we think they have like a weird hand. Like we think it's not full of burn spells. So the question is kind of like, given their hand isn't a bunch of burn spells, like what is it? Right? And like Path makes a lot of sense, like Wear Tear makes a lot of sense. Like their hand has to be like all these weird cards. Because like it isn't just like a normal burn hand. Like if it were, we like wouldn't currently be alive. Is what you have to understand. Exquisite Firecraft.
Wording and Wear Tear seems a little sketchy.
I would not be inclined to do that. Do you want me to Solitude here?
Probably not.
Why not?
Maybe you should. No. Well, the thing is, you might just lose to Path if you do. I kind of feel like you can just.
Yeah.
You can just Solitude your own Omnath if you have to.
Well, Solitude on Omnath is, I think, worse
What's
than
on top of your
Solitude. Time Warp is the
What's on top of your deck?
Time Warp.
Oh.
Sorry, I can make that more.
I just wouldn't cast my spell. Yeah, someone in chat said don't cast any spells, and I kind of like that.
Why though? Like, sell me. Explain your reasoning.
Well, what if they just have Path to Exile?
Okay, I agree. Let's pretend Path to Exile is certainly in our opponent's hand. Given that, should we pitch Omnath or not pitch Omnath? You're sort of implying that if they have Path...
You draw like a fetch land. Yeah, I mean, if you draw any white card or any fetch land, then I think it's worse to Solitude now.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true. And I guess we can just Time Warp next turn and see another card, honestly. We can just like spew off our Time Warp.
Yeah, you're just gonna cycle the time. You're just gonna cycle the Time Warp, yeah.
And we can also like Fashion Solitude, Exile and block. Okay, fine. You're right.
I don't know, you're like gaining 2 life. If you do it now versus like you're paying 2 life for the option to not use the Solitude, which I think is worth it here, but
I mean 2 life is very good, but I do agree. And do you want me to play the Godless Shrine or not play it?
I think you shouldn't play. I think you.
I think I shouldn't play it too, but
Actually,
I'm not
don't
sure.
know.
It's pretty close. I just don't see us using 6
It's very
mana.
hard for the mana to be relevant.
Yeah, I think we just.
Yeah, it's really hard for the mana to be relevant.
New rule: you are not allowed to say like. Look, Lord Dogonza, this is my stream. I'll say whatever I want.
There we go. Look at that rewarded.
Great. So now I'm gonna play the Land of Omnath. It is kind of funny that our opponent just has Firecraft in their deck. Our opponent's like a lot of weird burn cards. Oh, that's supposed to be red. I mean, if their hand is 2 wear tears, then like I believe we'll beat that easily. I'm not too afraid of that as an outcome. It does appear. Oh, I hope we don't just like die to normal creature beats. But maybe that's not incredibly likely. Our top card is BTL.
That seems good.
Do I block?
I think you should block and then sack.
Yeah, I should block Swift Spear.
I guess, yeah.
I think so.
Oh, you can't trust BTL. Never mind. That is a good point. Yeah, you shouldn't sack. I'm totally wrong.
Well, it's a little complicated. If we leave the land in play, and their hand is 2 bolts, we go to 2. I guess that's okay. All right, I guess it's fine on sack. Boros Charm. Okay, well, if I don't act now, I die. So I believe I should act.
Well, now you can. Yes.
So I'm gonna fetch.
Yeah, I mean, I would sack the thing. I would fetch, yeah.
I mean, oh, they just didn't have it this whole time.
To be honest, this game was kind of hard to play. It's possible that
maybe we made it too hard on ourselves. Maybe we were just fine the whole time. All right, so
this is one of those games where I'd have to like sit down and watch the replay to know.
Well, okay, but the problem is we actually still need to evoke Solitude, right?
Why?
Well, what if they have a bolt?
8. Then you just get to evoke Solitude anyways?
On my own Omnath?
Why not wait for the bolt to evoke your Solitude?
Because I'm going to target their Goblin Guide instead. Because I want to have an Omnath afterwards. Oh, I did a bolt anyway. Oh, I see. Never mind. You're right. We should take it. But I think we might lose, by the way. I think we were supposed to evoke the Solitude the previous turn, is the way I feel. But, okay, it's not going to matter.
That's definitely possible. I would really need to, like... This is what... Playing against Burn is really hard, I think, if I'm on focus. Because you really have to, like, think through the...
Well, now I'm just going to play Godless Shrine, I think. Yeah.
I would play the Shrine, yeah.
I think it's just going to win. If they both respond to this, we still win. Okay, and now I can just... Honestly, just Solitude, probably.
Well, now your game's over, yeah.
Actually, I probably shouldn't Solitude. I should probably just Teferi. The game isn't
just
over.
And hold Solitude, yeah.
I don't think the game is over, but we are winning, I guess, is my opinion. Sure. And I guess I should play this Beanstalk too. Whatever.
I do probably need to go in like 10 minutes.
Okay, no problem. This is our last match. It's fine. We've been playing like very slowly and discussing a lot of stuff. So I think playing 4 matches instead of 5 is totally...
Yeah, this was fun.
No problem. So yeah, we'll just finish this match and I'll close out. Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to keep you from your like dinner reservation or whatever. Tristan did tell me...
Oh, no.
Quote that he might have to leave early. and then he told me that he wouldn't, and now he's telling me he would again. So what we've learned is Tristan's very unreliable. Anyways,
Wait, leave early. Didn't you say five?
yeah, it's fine. I said 5. Uh,
Didn't you say 5 Central?
yeah, I did.
No, I'm being slandered.
Okay, I'm gonna let this happen.
I
I guess.
graciously see you later.
Yeah, you did. You're fine. Chat wants to know what you're having for dinner, though. That's a really important question. Because you're in New
I don't
York,
actually.
right?
Well, my plans are. I am in New York now. Yeah, my plans are actually somewhat up in the air. That's kind of why. Um, that's what I should figure out after this. I also need to like
Oh wait,
shower
I just
and.
killed myself. I'm so sorry.
Wait, what?
I, I just, I for, I
Wow.
just, I wanted to not take damage, and I let the vortex resolve first for no reason. I was supposed to do this
I
response.
see.
I like
Well,
somehow
we could
thought,
draw.
well, we can't draw anything because we can't cast. Like this doesn't help.
No, yeah, we're totally dead.
I just, yeah. Oh god, it's such a disaster now. Now, like I can't close out the stream because I have to play game 3. It's like it's a nightmare. I won this. We won this really complicated game, and then I punted out the window, and now the timing is not going to work when otherwise would have. It's really a nightmare scenario for the stream. Uh,
That's okay. I can chill for a couple more minutes. Um,
sorry. Oh no.
I see you're intentionally throwing
Yeah,
to me
intentionally
here.
throwing to force Tristan to stay later and be late for his dinner res. My real goal is to make sure Tristan's late for dinner. I think we can all agree. Um,
It's
but
okay. I'm not getting dinner right after this.
okay.
I have
I've
my
not been
time is a
playing
little
the
more
tightest of the stream,
flexible.
I admit. I've been mostly distracted by. Well, the problem is, see, Tristan's been a great guest and had some very interesting conversation, which has made it very hard for me to focus on the game.
Do you have any well now if we lose this one it doesn't matter because we're you know.
Yeah, because we certainly would have
So
won.
what do you have any other good topics that you wanted to bring up?
Good question.
Anyone in chat have any good conversation topics?
Oh my god. I think we
Is it
covered.
too early for me to hang up my Christmas decorations?
Oh my god. Really the controversial question of our time. Chat wants to know what set of drifts are for.
Oh, they're for Blood Moon. Ottoman Empire was before my time.
I think the Ottoman Empire was probably before all of our times here at the Systematic stream.
I don't want to make any assumptions, but
This is actually really awkward because I
I
can't
personally
reverse
was
cut it.
not. I have you know I don't even know what NA's performance at League Worlds was, so I can't feel much about it.
It was egregiously bad.
Someone asked me this question about how often I think about Rome, and I said like I don't know, every month or two.
Oh wait,
Apparently, a lot of people say a lot.
I have a really funny answer to the Rome thing. So just as this like Rome thing was like picking up and everyone was talking about it everywhere,
I'm
I had a
I
thing
miss
where
this thing.
I
I
was
miss these TikToks or whatever.
yeah, it's just a random TikTok bit. But I had a thing where I was playing or I was currently like listening to an audiobook that's like a fantasy novel that involves like a Rome inspired civilization, which meant that like at the time I was thinking about Rome at all times that I was driving because that's why I listen to audiobooks. So like I drive a lot. Like I, mostly get around by driving. So the answer was like 5+ times a day. Because that's how often I was driving, and when I was listening to the audiobook, it was just about Rome. Like,
Um,
wait, they're pathing me? Wait, this is great, right?
I had some friends who were classics majors, and they definitely thought about Rome a lot. I had to read a bunch of Roman books.
It's fine. We're easily going to win game 3 in our so-called bad matchup. What many have called our bad matchup.
How do I like BTL Cascade? I don't know how to answer that question.
How do you like it? Well, I mean,
That was the question.
I can answer
Unbreakable
the
Wit.
I'll answer the
But I
question
don't
on
know what
Tristan's
BTL
behalf.
Cascade is.
I think that's this deck.
BTL doesn't have Cascade. That's how I personally feel about it.
Why not Time Warp? Well, Time Warp doesn't, I think, accomplish that much in this particular situation. I guess I could have. Yeah, I'm happy to let the Time Warp cook, I think, is the answer. Tristan, do you want me to take here or block?
You should probably block, as sad as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, I think I
It
can
just
block the Goblin Guide. I can save
there's
it with
just
Commandeer.
it's just kind of free. It's kind of just free money to block.
Actually, I maybe should block the Monastery Swiss Spear.
Probably. Well, I don't know.
I
You
think
probably should block the Swift Spear, yeah.
I think I should
But
block
if
Swiss
you
Spear. It's a
if
little
you
complicated.
I think that's a better first. Yeah, I think if you thought about it really hard, you could come up with something. But realistically, it's the safer one is to block the Swift Spear.
Yes. Okay, now I'm going to Time Warp. Well, I'm going to play a land in Time Warp. Are they skullcracking me? Because that doesn't actually work the way you want it to, opponent. Do you think my opponent is familiar with this interaction? Wait, Tristan, if I told you my story about this, it's an insane story. So I had this happen. Like Omnath in response, they like prevent me from getting life, and then you in response fetch again. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna gain the 4 now. And they're like, what? No, the first trigger is gaining 4. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And my opponent's like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's just like how this works. Like it's common interaction. Like I'm like very confident. And my opponent's like, no, you're definitely you're full of shit. They call a judge, and the judge tries to explain this to my opponent, just like what happens. And my opponent is like, the judge doesn't like do a great job explaining it, and my opponent's like still confused. They like appeal the ruling. So the head judge comes over, and the head judge like tries to explain to my opponent and still fails because my opponent like clearly hasn't played a lot of Magic lately, like is pretty confused about what's going on. You know, like understandable scenario. This is all pretty weird. And what ends up happening is the head judge picks up Omnath and hands to my opponent and is like, read this card. And my opponent reads it and is like, oh, the first time it resolves. Gotcha, it all makes sense now. My opponent just like
Only
hadn't read the
three
cards.
skulls.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's about, I think, going to do it for this particular Tristan match stream. We've only played 4 matches because our deck is really slow and, you know, Tristan has got places to be. But this was our Tristan's take on Time Warp, Force of Negation, 4-color Beans. I'm still not really sure which build of Cascade Beans is better, if I'm being personally honest. I think maybe it's Tristan's, and maybe it's the red version. I'm not really sure. I think it ultimately comes down to a lot of specific stuff about how good Force of Negation is and like what is a better scam matchup and all of that kind of thing. But I do think in general, Cascade Beans is like one of the strongest decks in Modern right now and is probably here to stay. Tristan, do you have any kind of parting words as we close out the stream here?
No, this was fun. I would love to be back on someday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is not unlikely in the long run. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush, but someday. Next time I have a good Modern deck.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't have to play more Modern.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be unreasonable to play less cards either, but if you did, you'd probably play less Cascaders. So I do agree, Tristan, that it's unclear how large Genocide actually is. It's mostly about leyline binding. But anyways, so yeah, that's about going to do it for today. As the systematic stream will be back Monday when Greg has finished winning his mocks, and we'll be having a mocks winning victory stream as he's guaranteed to win, as all experts agree. And for now, though, that's going to about do it. So I think Systemagic out.